Even the gentle sway of seaweed seemed slower than usual, as though the entire ocean had fallen into a calm breath. From the small coral houses to the faint outlines of the jellyfish fields beyond, everything was bathed in a soothing lavender-blue glow. Inside his cozy rock home, Patrick Starr rolled lazily on his bed of soft sand. The room was dim but peaceful, illuminated by the faint light of glowing sea moss that clung to the ceiling. Every few seconds a bubble would float past and pop quietly, adding a sleepy rhythm to the silence. Patrick yawned, the kind of deep, heavy yawn that seemed to pull his whole body into it. "Another busy day of, he muttered, blinking slowly. "Whatever I was doing." His voice trailed off as his eyes drifted toward the faint shimmer above. The ceiling of his rock wasn't just stone tonight. Something about it shimmered, reflecting the glow of drifting plankton that floated outside his small window. Each speck glowed like a soft underwater star, pulsing faintly in rhythm with the ocean's slow heartbeat. Patrick smiled faintly, his eyelids half lowered. "Wow, twinkly snacks," he mumbled, reaching out a lazy arm as if he could grab one and taste it. But his hand just brushed through water, catching only the faintest glitter of reflected light. The sound of distant bubbles filled the air, slow, melodic, almost like the ocean was singing a lullaby of its own. From outside, the faint whoosh of a passing current rolled through, brushing against the rock with a soft, hollow hum. Patrick turned on his side, curling up like a giant pink seashell. The glow above him grew stronger, a soft coral hue mixed with pale violet, spilling across his room. His rock walls began to look less like stone and more like something living, pulsing faintly as if breathing with him. He blinked once, twice. The edges of his vision began to soften, the world fading into something smoother, brighter. Maybe just one midnight snack before he yawned again. "Before I nap for a year." He looked up. The ceiling was gone. Instead, there was a vast, open ocean of light bubbles floating upward like stars escaping into the sky. The entire space shimmered, the colors shifting like a liquid rainbow moving in slow motion. The sand beneath his bed dissolved into nothingness, and Patrick found himself lying on a gentle wave made of glowing starlight. He didn't move at first, only blinked, mesmerized by the slow dance of light above him. Tiny orbs floated through the water, pulsing and glowing, each one leaving behind a faint trail that shimmered before fading away. Patrick giggled softly. Pretty lights. His voice echoed softly, bouncing between invisible waves like a whisper carried through glass. As he blinked again, one of the glowing orbs drifted closer. It hovered above his nose for a moment, spinning gently, before bursting into dozens of tiny sparkles that filled the water like dust motes in sunlight. The glow brushed against his face, soft and ticklish, and he chuckled. "Smells like jelly," he said dreamily. The glow began to surround him, now hundreds of small, flickering lights, forming patterns above and around him. Some sparkled quickly, like laughter. Others pulsed slowly, like the rhythm of breathing. It wasn't just the ceiling that had changed. It was the entire world. Patrick was no longer in his room. He floated gently through an ocean that felt weightless and infinite. The boundaries of his rock, his bed, his home all gone. Only the glow remained. He drifted slowly upward like a bubble released from the sand. The lights shimmered around him, rearranging themselves as he rose. Then, faintly at first, they began to form shapes. He squinted, rubbing his eyes in disbelief. One cluster of glowing orbs looked like a Krabby Patty, perfectly round, with sparkling sesame seeds of light across the top. Another cluster formed the outline of a jellyfish, its glowing tentacles stretching gracefully across the sky. Patrick gasped softly, his mouth forming a small O. Whoa, he whispered, his voice soft as a bubble pop. He reached out to touch one of the glowing patties, and it wobbled like a reflection on water. It wasn't solid, but it was alive, moving, rippling with color. His laughter came out in slow bursts, floating away like sound made of bubbles. Hey, a star sandwich. Far beneath him, he could still faintly see his bed glowing dimly, now resting on a transparent wave of light. It looked like it belonged to another world, entirely a dream world within a dream. The music of the ocean deepened harp-like tones echoing through the vastness, blending with soft thumps of his heartbeat. The light dimmed, then brightened again, shifting in cycles like a gentle tide. Patrick stretched out his arms, letting himself float completely, as if the ocean had become one big blanket made of stars. For the first time in a long while, he wasn't thinking about food or naps or jellyfish. He just was. A quiet hum passed through the water, almost like the universe breathing. The plankton lights flickered again, this time forming faint trails that stretched outward like constellations' lines, connecting the stars into simple shapes, circles, triangles, hearts. Patrick smiled sleepily. Look at that. The sky's doodling, he mumbled. He felt his eyelids grow heavy again, but this time it wasn't out of tiredness, it was peace. His body floated effortlessly, his mind adrift, carried by the rhythm of invisible waves. The final light he saw before the dream deepened was a tiny bubble drifting past his face, shimmering with reflections of Bikini Bottom, SpongeBob's pineapple house, the Krusty Krab, and the ocean sky. The water around Patrick shimmered like liquid starlight. Everything pulsed in a soft rhythm, not quite waves, not quite music, but something in between. He floated slowly upward, arms outstretched, watching the light swirl around him in gentle spirals. The glow caressed his skin in soft hues, lavender, blue, rose gold shifting like memories made of color. Whoa, Patrick whispered, his voice trailing through the water. It's like a big, sparkly jellyfish hug. The sky above was expanding a vast canvas of glowing points, spreading in every direction. He realized it wasn't the sky at all, it was the ocean itself, infinite and shining from within. Each light moved with purpose, like a school of tiny fish painting the night. Patrick twirled slowly, giggling as the bubbles around him danced in response. They seemed to react to his laughter, rippling brighter, forming patterns of their own. Hey, you guys like jokes? He asked, floating upside down now, his voice muffled by the dream water. Why did the sea cucumber cross the road? The bubbles paused mid-spin. Patrick grinned. To get to the other tide. A few bubbles popped in what felt like applause, releasing tiny musical pings that echoed like laughter. Patrick beamed proudly, floating like a pink star in the middle of the glowing sea. As he drifted higher, he began to notice something. The lights were not random anymore. They were slowly connecting themselves, drawing thin glowing trails that linked them together in constellations. The first one shimmered into shape, a giant jellyfish made of light, its tentacles flowing gently. Patrick gasped. It's beautiful. The jellyfish's lights pulsed. Then, as if sensing his gaze, it began to move, gliding slowly across the glowing sky above him. Tiny bubbles followed in its wake like comets. Patrick waved. Hi, Lighty Fishy. I like your hair. The jellyfish constellation rippled once, then dimmed slightly, its lights rearranging themselves again until the new pattern resembled something else entirely, a giant Krabby Patty floating in space. Patrick's eyes went wide. "No way," he said, his voice full of awe. "A burger, made of stars." The glowing patty rotated gently, each layer made of light shimmering buns, lettuce-like green trails, tomato-red glows, and a golden center that pulsed like a mini-sun. Patrick's stomach rumbled. I could go for a starlight snack right about now." He reached out slowly, but the Cosmic Krabby Patty floated away, leaving behind a glowing trail that shimmered like breadcrumbs. Patrick followed, drifting lazily through the dream ocean. As he moved, more constellations began forming around him, each one more ridiculous and wonderful than the last. A glowing spatula twirled through space. A giant pickle moon rotated slowly, its craters shining like emeralds. Farther off, a whole constellation of fries floated together, their golden light flickering in slow motion. Patrick giggled uncontrollably. "Wow, it's like the snack aisle of the universe." He twirled again, chasing the glowing fries as they scattered into the distance. But every time he got close, they turned into smaller constellations. Jellyfish, clams, coral trees, each fading softly into mist as new shapes emerged. Then something changed. The rhythm of the dream slowed. The lights dimmed slightly, and Patrick found himself surrounded by deep indigo darkness. The constellations above him began to blur, their shapes melting into one another. He blinked, floating still. Hello?" A faint hum began to rise through the water, low, melodic, like the vibration of a massive seashell. The stars began to pulse again, this time in patterns that felt alive, almost like breathing. Patrick turned in slow circles. "Who's there? Mr. Jellyfish Burger?" The stars shimmered once, and then twice, and then, with a flash, they aligned into a single, enormous image. It was Patrick himself, made entirely of starlight. The glowing Patrick constellation smiled down at him, its eyes shimmering softly. It was peaceful, almost angelic, floating upside down like a reflection in water. Patrick gasped. "Whoa, I look so shiny." He waved at his celestial self. The star Patrick waved back, the movement delayed slightly like a reflection in slow motion. They both laughed a deep, soft laughter that echoed like bells underwater. Then slowly, the reflection began to dissolve, its stars scattering outward like pollen in the sea. Each glowing piece floated away, joining other clusters, forming new shapes. Now, instead of one Patrick, the sky was full of smaller, glowing creatures, jellyfish, bubbles, coral branches, and something that looked suspiciously like a spatula wearing sunglasses. Patrick laughed so hard, bubbles burst from his mouth. "This dream is awesome!" He flipped onto his back, floating weightlessly, the glow from above bathing his face in gold and violet. It felt warm, not hot, just perfectly comforting, like sunbeams through the seawater. His heartbeat slowed. The lights flickered slower. The edges of the world softened again. Patrick reached upward, watching the bubbles drift past his fingers. "Do stars ever get hungry?" he mumbled. "They should try Krabby Patties." His eyes closed halfway. The music of the sea returned slow, melodic, cradling him like a lullaby. From somewhere far away, he thought he heard SpongeBob's voice, faint and echoing like it came from another dream. "Patrick, wake up. It's morning." But Patrick only smiled, murmuring softly, "5 more minutes, SpongeBob. I'm busy, shining." The stars pulsed once more, brighter this time, and the jellyfish constellation drifted above him, casting a glow that wrapped around him like a blanket. Patrick floated in the middle of the glowing ocean sky surrounded by shimmering lights. The stars seemed to hover close now, curious, almost listening. Their gentle hum vibrated through his body like a heartbeat. He blinked slowly, still half dreaming, half awake. "Hey, are you guys real?" he whispered. The stars pulsed once in answer, tiny ripples spreading outward through the water. Patrick giggled. "I knew it. I'm in charge here." He stretched his arms wide and kicked his legs lazily, spinning in slow circles. With every twirl, the lights responded, tracing patterns in his wake, like trails of glitter. He started making shapes just to see what would happen. First, a jellyfish, soft, simple, familiar. The lights shimmered and gathered, forming a perfect glowing jellyfish that floated by, its tentacles streaming gently. Patrick gasped. "Whoa, I made that!" He waved both hands and laughed. Okay. What about a sandwich?" The lights twinkled again, forming two glowing buns, a glowing patty, and bright lettuce-like curls. It floated in front of him, rotating in slow motion like a proud creation. Patrick clapped his hands. "This is the best dream ever!" He began experimenting wildly. With every motion, the starlight obeyed him. A coral tower spun from his fingertips. A glowing spatula soared through the sky like a comet. Even a tiny mini version of Patrick appeared for a second before dissolving into glittery bubbles that tickled his nose. "Hey, little me," he giggled. "Don't forget to brush your teeth before bed." The tiny star bubbles popped, releasing tiny bursts of soft sound, not exactly laughter, but something close. As Patrick floated, he began to notice that his movements created music. Every wave of his hand left behind faint notes, like a xylophone made of stars. He twirled again, and the dream sang deep, bell-like tones mixing with high, glassy chimes. The rhythm built slowly, and Patrick began dancing, if dancing could describe his slow, clumsy twirls. His arms wobbled, his legs kicked unevenly, but the stars didn't mind. They followed his rhythm, glowing brighter, spinning faster, creating a cosmic dance that lit up the sea sky. The light intensified. The stars around him rearranged into enormous shapes, a jellyfish, a burger, a coral reef, and then, unexpectedly, a smiling SpongeBob made of bubbles. Patrick gasped. "SpongeBob! You're glowing! You finally used sunscreen." The SpongeBob constellation blinked once, then tilted its head. Patrick swam closer. "You look kind of floaty today." The glowing SpongeBob raised a finger made of light and pointed toward the horizon. Patrick turned. In the distance, a new formation was forming, a massive spiral of glowing dots. It looked like a galaxy made of bubbles. The water hummed louder now, the current tugging at him gently. He followed it, eyes wide with wonder. The closer he got, the more he realized the galaxy was alive. Each star was a tiny jellyfish, glowing and drifting in sync. They formed rings, spinning around a glowing center, a pearl-like orb that pulsed with golden light. Patrick whispered, "Pretty." He reached out, and the pearl pulsed once, sending a wave of color through the entire dream world. The stars around him brightened, and for a brief second, Patrick saw everything, the constellations, the flowing galaxies, even his own reflection drifting in slow motion. It felt peaceful, endless. He floated still, hands open, eyes wide with soft awe. The entire dream sea seemed to breathe around him, expanding, shimmering, fading. Then he heard something faint, a voice distant, echoing, almost singing. "Patrick, Patrick." He squinted. "Huh? Who's that? Is that my stomach?" The sound came again, this time layered with faint laughter. It sounded like SpongeBob, but stretched, like a memory being replayed underwater. Patrick spun around, trying to find the source, but the stars kept shifting, rearranging, teasing him with shapes that faded as soon as he focused. Finally, one star blinked brighter than the rest, then another, and another. Soon they began forming letters. Up here, I. Patrick stared. Whoa! They can spell! My name's famous now. The letters drifted apart again, forming a new constellation. This time it looked like a giant rock, his home. Patrick's expression softened. Ah, my rock bed. I miss you, buddy. The glowing rock turned slowly, and Patrick noticed something strange. The glow wasn't random anymore. There were details now, textures, soft outlines. It wasn't just a constellation. It was real. The dream was reshaping itself again. The glowing ocean dimmed, the stars began to pull away, and the ceiling above him reappeared, that familiar dark dome of his house. Patrick blinked. Wait, am I waking up? He tried to reach out, but the starlight clung to him gently, holding him still. The stars above whispered faintly, forming soft patterns again, but this time they weren't random constellations. They formed memories. He saw SpongeBob laughing in jellyfish fields. He saw himself trying and failing to cook a Krabby Patty. He saw a little bubble version of Squidward frowning while playing his clarinet. And in between them, his favorite thing himself, napping under his rock, surrounded by quiet peace. Patrick chuckled sleepily. That's me, all right? The stars pulsed one last time, then dimmed. The light faded to soft choral tones. Patrick's breathing slowed again, his body sinking deeper into his dream bed. He murmured, Night, night, shiny friends. The last star flickered above him, glowing gently before disappearing into darkness. And then everything went quiet again. The dream wasn't gone, though. It had just changed layers. The camera, in cinematic sense, slowly drifted downward, following Patrick's resting form. Around him, faint glows remained in the darkness, small bubbles of light that still held shape. Inside one, the glowing jellyfish floated lazily. Inside another, the Krabby Patty constellation twinkled faintly. Silence folded around Patrick like a soft blanket. The music of the dream had faded into the hum of the ocean, deep, slow, and comforting. He floated weightlessly above his glowing rock bed, his arms spread lazily, bubbles drifting from his mouth as he murmured in his sleep. Stars taste like jelly, maybe. Above him, faint trails of light shimmered like dust. They swirled together, forming gentle currents that pulsed in rhythm with his snores. Each snore released a soft bubble, which floated up and joined the twinkling flow as if Patrick's very breath was feeding the stars. The camera drifts outward. The view expands, showing the vast dreamscape he has created. Where once there were only shadows and quiet currents, now there's an entire cosmos blooming underwater. Constellations twinkle across the sea ceiling, one shaped like a Krabby Patty, another like a jellyfish, another even like SpongeBob's spatula spinning in orbit. Between them, trails of glowing plankton drift like cosmic winds. Patrick stirs again, his eyes fluttering open in the dream. He looks around, dazed but smiling. Whoa, he whispers. Did I make all that? He sits up in slow motion, bubbles slipping off his back like tiny comets. The starry sky seems closer now, close enough to touch. He raises his hand, pointing toward a nearby constellation that looks suspiciously like a donut. Ah, breakfast stars. As he reaches for it, the stars react, pulling toward his hand, glowing brighter, coalescing into a soft, golden spiral. The donut shape spins and morphs, and for a brief second, Patrick feels a tug as if gravity itself wants to take him on another journey. Maybe just one little bite, he mumbles dreamily. The light pulses. He's lifted slowly upward, drifting into the spiral. The dream stretches again, boundaries melting, shapes shifting. He passes through glowing trails of plankton dust, watching them split into constellations that move like living things. Each one tells a story, little animated lights of his memories and imagination blending together. There's Patrick chasing jellyfish with SpongeBob the scene replaying like a looping projection. There's Mr. Krabs counting glowing star coins, the sound of their clinking echoing like chimes. There's Squidward floating past with his clarinet, blowing silver bubbles that hum like distant wails. Patrick laughs softly. Hi, everyone. You're all here, too? But they don't answer. They're made of light, of course, yet they radiate a warmth that feels like friendship. The glowing figures spin around him in slow circles, orbiting like planets. The entire dream turns into a kind of underwater galaxy, SpongeBob-shaped stars twinkling beside Krabby Patty constellations. Patrick is in the center of it all, spinning slowly, arms wide open, eyes glowing with wonder. The soundscape deepens. Deep ocean hum, gentle harp-like echoes, soft reverb breaths that sound like tides. Patrick whispers, "It's like the sky and the sea had a baby." He giggles at his own thought, then turns on his back, letting the current take him wherever it pleases. As he drifts, bubbles rise from beneath him, forming new shapes above a spiral, a crown, a heart. Each one glows for a few moments before bursting into glitter that falls like rain. His laughter echoes quietly. "I'm the king of sleepy stars." Then something shifts. The laughter fades into quiet again, and Patrick feels the current pulling him downward, not sharply, but softly, as if the dream is guiding him toward rest. The glowing constellations begin to fade into faint outlines. The once bright ocean sky dims to hues of lavender and pale blue. Each sparkle gently descends like falling petals, surrounding Patrick as he floats. He yawns deeply, the kind of yawn that feels like the end of an adventure. Okay. Maybe I'll explore more later. He curls into himself, hugging his pillow, which in the dream has turned into a glowing bubble. It glows gently under his chin, pulsing like a tiny heartbeat. The camera slowly zooms out again. We see him drifting through the soft current, wrapped in faint trails of light. His starlit creations linger in the background, now faint silhouettes shimmering against the ocean dark. And then something magical happens. A single star, small, quiet, golden, drifts down toward him. It settles right above his head, glowing brighter with every beat of his slow, sleepy breathing. As it hovers, the surrounding stars form a subtle shape around him, like a protective cocoon. Patrick whispers half-consciously, "Good night, little star." The golden light pulses once more and bursts into hundreds of microscopic sparkles. They float downward, landing softly on Patrick's skin, his shell, and the glowing pillow beneath him. Each one twinkles before fading into soft luminescence. The scene shifts perspective, the dream expanding again to show the vast expanse of Patrick's subconscious sky. The stars rearrange one last time, forming a final constellation, not a Krabby Patty this time, nor a jellyfish. Patrick drifts in a deep ocean sky, half asleep, half awake, his body floating weightlessly as the current carries him through fields of shimmering blue light. Ooh, he doesn't know how long he's been dreaming. The boundary between sleeping and floating has vanished. All he feels is peace, like he's being carried through warm water that hums quietly with the sound of stars. Tiny lights flicker around him. Plankton glimmers. Little orbs of jellyfish glow, and they gather in slow spirals. The light begins to form trails like invisible brushstrokes painting on the dark canvas of the sea. Patrick's eyes flutter open and he gasps, bubbles popping from his mouth. Whoa, the sky's swimming. He turns slowly in place, his arms spread out like a sea star. The lights are swirling everywhere now, ribbons of gold, blue, pink, and silver. Each one moves like it has purpose, curving around him, crossing paths in intricate shapes. He tilts his head. It's like someone's doodling with sparkles. Then from the middle of it all, one bright bubble floats forward. It's larger than the rest, glowing with a soft gold hue. Patrick's reflection curves across its surface. He blinks and squints closer. Inside the bubble, something is forming faint outlines of stars connected by tiny, glowing threads. He drifts nearer, pressing his nose against it. Looks like a burger? The lines sharpen. Yes, inside the bubble, dots of light form a pattern unmistakably shaped like a Krabby Patty. It's lettuce, shimmering green, the buns glowing bronze. Patrick gasps in delight. I knew it! Starburgers are real. The glowing Krabby Patty constellation begins to move. Its edges pulse gently, and as Patrick watches, the stars shift, turning into motion. The celestial burger spins slowly, sending trails of glittery bubbles outward. Then, impossibly, it begins to grill itself, smoke made of glitter swirling to the current. Patrick laughs, floating backward, kicking his feet lazily. Even the stars are hungry. He reaches out, trying to grab a piece of starlight bun. His hand passes through it, scattering bubbles. Oh, man. No midnight snack here, either. As he pouts, more constellations begin to bloom around him. One in the shape of a jellyfish, its tentacles waving like glowing threads of silk. Another shaped like SpongeBob's hat, spinning softly in orbit. Farther away, a group of small blue lights twirl together to form Squidward's clarinet, each note drifting away as tiny bubbles that hum faintly. Patrick turns in slow motion, wide-eyed. The sky is no longer empty, it's alive. Each new constellation forms with its own rhythm, glowing and fading, their movements like breathing. The whole scene pulses gently to the beat of the ocean's invisible heart. He drifts upward, arms behind his head, watching it all. This is the best nap ever. The camera pans outward, a breathtaking shot. Patrick floats at the center of an enormous dome of constellations. Some are small and faint, others gigantic and radiant, stretching across the horizon. Trails of stardust connect them, forming loops and spirals that fade into the misty deep. The soft background music begins slow harp strings layered with reverb, a lullaby tempo that feels infinite. Patrick hums along, out of tune, of course, but full of childlike joy. Sparkly burgers, shiny jellyfish, bedtime snacks from space. Then something unusual catches his eye. Amid all the familiar, friendly shapes, one cluster of stars flickers differently colder, bluer. It doesn't pulse softly like the others. It shimmers sharply, like a reflection on ice. Patrick squints, puzzled. That one's weird. He paddles closer through the gentle current, bubbles swirling around him. The closer he gets, the colder the light feels. Not temperature cold, but emotionally cool. The color shifts from soft blue to icy white. When he's near enough, the shape becomes clear, a huge sea star constellation, 5 points stretching wide, glowing with crisp white outlines. It looks just like Patrick, but perfectly symmetrical, like a drawing made by the stars themselves. Patrick stares. Whoa, that's me. Wait, am I famous now? The constellation doesn't move at first. It just hovers, glowing steadily, as if observing him back. Then slowly the points begin to rotate. The whole figure tilts, its 5 arms curving and pulsing with light. The surrounding stars twinkle faster. Patrick blinks nervously. Hi, me? Suddenly one of the arms of the star stretches out, not in a scary way, but gently, and its light touches Patrick's chest. The moment it does, a wave of warm light passes through him. The colors around brighten. He gasps softly. The entire ocean sky seems to breathe. Memories begin to shimmer faintly in the background. SpongeBob laughing, Squidward frowning, bubbles rising around the Krusty Krab. They drift through the constellations like echoes of daytime. Patrick whispers, "It's showing me my memories?" The star-shaped constellation pulses brighter, then fades. Its light spreads across the entire skylines of energy, connecting every constellation into one giant glowing map. The camera pans out again, now showing a full celestial network made of memories, dreams, and C-shaped stars. Patrick laughs softly, floating backward, overwhelmed by the beauty. It's like bedtime, but the whole ocean's my blanket. The scene slows, everything glowing softly in rhythm with his calm breathing. Each constellation flickers like a heartbeat. The Krabby Patty glows golden. The jellyfish spins. The Patrick star figure fades into mist, leaving a trail of light that swirls around him. Patrick stretches, yawns, and lets himself drift in the current, the glow reflecting in his eyes. As the background fades into shimmering gradients of blue and pink, he whispers, "I hope the next star is dessert." The glow from the sea star constellation lingers even after it fades, leaving a faint spiral of light twirling lazily in the water. Patrick's eyes follow it, mesmerized. The spiral drifts upward, then splits into tiny glowing dots, each dot becoming a miniature Krabby Patty constellation, floating like snack-sized galaxies. Patrick's stomach growls softly. Okay, I know it's a dream, but that smells like pickles. He reaches toward one of the glowing patties, and this time, something different happens when his finger touches it. The light doesn't fade. Instead, it responds, rippling outward in glowing waves. The little constellation begins to orbit around him, leaving a trail of glittering crumbs that shimmer like golden dust. Patrick giggles, doing a lazy spin in the current. Ha! Space food fight! He grabs another glowing bubble and tosses it. It bounces off an invisible barrier and ricochets, creating a ring of light that spins around him like a halo. The sound it makes isn't a pop, it's a soft chime, like a bell echoing underwater. Each time a bubble bursts, the chime adds a new note, forming a dreamy melody. Slowly the environment begins to respond to Patrick's playfulness. Every motion he makes leaves trails of color. When he waves his arms, pink ribbons stretch behind him. When he kicks his feet, blue sparks scatter into the distance. The constellations pulse brighter, forming little orbits that follow his movements. It feels like the entire sea sky has become alive, a living reflection of his imagination. Patrick's joy radiates like sunlight through the ocean. He closes his eyes for a moment, letting the melody surround him. The song of the stars deepens, now layered with faint hums like a distant chorus of whales singing lullabies. The sounds are slow, soft, and strangely emotional. When he opens his eyes, the Krabby Patty constellation is gone, replaced by a new formation beginning to emerge from the mist. This one shines in shades of rose gold and teal, its edges rippling like the surface of a calm sea. Slowly its outline becomes clear. A giant jellyfish, easily the size of a small island, made entirely of starlight. Its long tentacles trail downward, each one leaving lines of glittering currents. Patrick gasped, pressing both hands to his cheeks. "Oh, wow! You're like Jellyfish King of the Universe!" The jellyfish blinks. Yes, blinks. Its eyes shimmer brighter, and it releases a pulse of light that ripples through the water. Dozens of smaller jellyfish constellations appear all around, forming a glowing swarm. They move gracefully, drifting past Patrick, their glowing bodies illuminating him in alternating hues of pink, cayenne, and gold. It feels almost like a parade. He stretches his arms wide, laughing softly. "Hi, little buddies. Hey, I think I've seen you guys before, but flatter." The largest jellyfish drifts closer, its body expanding like a glowing balloon. Patrick's reflection bends across its curved surface. The creature releases another pulse of light, and this time the sound isn't a hum but a faint giggle, like a playful echo. Patrick's eyes widen. "You can laugh too? That's awesome. We could totally start a jelly band." He starts humming, then tries imitating the sound, a bubbly boo-blah-boo noise, and somehow the jellyfish echo him. Each pulse matches his tune, until the whole dream space is filled with synchronized glowing patterns and harmonic sounds. The camera pans out again. We see Patrick dancing slowly in zero gravity, surrounded by glowing constellations pulsing to his laughter. His body moves lazily, almost like he's underwater ballet dancing, leaving ribbons of color swirling around his path. For a moment there's a feeling of infinite playfulness, like he's discovered a whole universe designed just to have fun with him. He floats through the glowing creatures, spinning and laughing until even the stars seem to twinkle faster in response. But then the tone shifts slightly. The background glow dims a little, and the swirling jellyfish begin to drift farther away, their light fading softly into the distance. A faint mist rises, swirling at the edges of the scene. Patrick blinks. "Huh? Where's everyone going?" He kicks forward, trying to follow, but the water thickens, each movement slower, heavier. The music fades into soft echoes, replaced by the distant hum of currents. The once playful stars now shimmer in slower rhythm, as though they're calming down, preparing for something deeper. A single line of starlight stretches across the sky, one continuous thread connecting horizon to horizon. Slowly it starts to bend, forming a gentle curve. More stars gather around it, shaping into something recognizable, a pathway made of glowing light, winding through the dark sea. Patrick tilts his head. "Oh, is that like, a glowing road or a noodle?" He looks closer. The stars along the path are flickering in a pattern, like they're calling him forward. Without thinking twice, Patrick starts floating in that direction, following the luminous trail. Each step he takes, or rather each little push in the water, makes the path light up beneath him, glowing brighter where his feet touch. It feels like walking on clouds made of stars. As he continues, the environment subtly changes. The playful pinks and teals fade into calm indigos and soft whites. The currents slow down, and the soundscape becomes almost silent except for a faint harp echo in the background. It feels more like a dream inside a dream, quieter, slower, and strangely sacred. Patrick stops and looks around, awed. Wow. This must be the fancy part of the dream. The camera follows him from a distance, small, pink, glowing faintly in the vast, dark blue expanse. Around him, the stars pulse slowly, each one breathing light and perfect rhythm. Then, as if responding to his calm, another constellation begins to emerge ahead. This one doesn't form instantly like the others. It builds slowly, first a few dots of light, then lines connecting them, and finally a shape, a giant hand made of stars reaching gently downward. Patrick stares, mouth open. "Whoa, big hand!" The hand moves with incredible grace, each finger trailing sparkles. It stops above him, palm open, as if offering him something unseen. Patrick looks around, confused, then looks back at it. "You want a high five?" He floats closer, hesitates, then slaps its palm gently. A flash of light bursts out, spiraling in all directions. The impact sends ripples through the entire sea sky. And suddenly, all constellations, the jellyfish, the burger, the sea star light up together in one enormous synchronized glow. Patrick laughs uncontrollably, spinning in slow motion. "Best high five ever." As the light slowly fades, the hand dissolves into glittering bubbles that rise around him like snow. They drift past, some popping softly, others merging into faint stars. The music swells again, that same lullaby melody from before, but now mixed with the soft choral voices, creating a feeling of emotional warmth. Patrick's expression softens. His eyes reflect the fading constellations. "This dream's kinda beautiful," he says quietly, his tone almost sincere now. "I wish SpongeBob could see this." A faint sparkle drifts past him, shaped vaguely like SpongeBob's face, smiling before fading away. Patrick giggles softly. "He'd probably try to cook the stars." Patrick drifts farther along the glowing trail, still humming softly to himself. The water around him becomes darker, yet the path of light beneath his feet glows even brighter, guiding him through the endless dream ocean. Each step releases little sparkles, like fireflies bursting from the sand. He looks around and whispers, "It's like walking on stars, except they're all squishy." The glowing road curves gently upward, leading him toward a wide, open space. Slowly, the darkness around him fades to a deep midnight blue. The air, or whatever this dream sea is made of, feels lighter, filled with soft glimmers that swirl lazily, as if the stars themselves are floating particles. Then ahead, something begins to take shape. Tiny dots of light move together in organized motion, forming outlines that shift and dance. Patrick tilts his head, squinting. "Huh? What's that? Some kind of sparkly conga line?" Within moments, the stars snap into place, forming moving constellations. A giant Krabby Patty constellation leads the group, glowing golden brown with green and pink shimmers that mimic lettuce and sauce. Behind it, constellations shaped like jellyfish, seahorses and bubbles float gracefully in a rhythmic wave, all twinkling to the same gentle beat. Patrick gasps in awe. "It's like a parade, a star parade." The music changes to match the scene, slow, sweeping, and warm. A harp-like melody carries through the water, layered with deep, echoing chime notes that sound like footsteps across glass. Patrick claps his hands in delight, sending ripples through the sea that make the glowing trail shimmer brighter. "Woo-hoo! Go, jellyfish burger parade!" He floats forward, drifting between the constellations, trying to march along with them. Every step he takes causes the nearby stars to pulse in rhythm, like he's become part of the performance. The camera pans wide Patrick, glowing faintly pink, walking through the middle of this cosmic ocean filled with moving constellations. Around him, everything glows in slow motion. Soft blues, shimmering whites, pastel yellows. Trails of light follow every movement, filling the frame with color and motion. He passes by one jellyfish constellation and waves. The glowing creature waves back, its tentacles flickering in response. Another cluster of stars forms briefly into the shape of a laughing face before dissolving again. Patrick giggles uncontrollably. Oh, boy, I love this dream. Everything's so friendly. He reaches up to touch one of the stars near his head, and as soon as his finger brushes it, the entire section of sky lights up. Lines of starlight connect rapidly, tracing out new patterns. Patrick's eyes widen. Ah, here comes another one. The lights draw into shape a huge, smiling Patrick constellation. The real Patrick gasps, eyes sparkling. It's me. Wait, I'm a starfish made of stars. He floats backward, laughing so hard bubbles escape his mouth in little bursts. The constellation mimics his movements, waving, spinning, even scratching its head just like him. But then, the constellation starts doing something Patrick isn't, slowly raising one arm to point upward. Patrick follows its gesture. Up above, far beyond the glowing mist, he sees something faint, a spiral cluster of light, pulsing softly in rhythm with the dream's background music. It's not a constellation this time. It feels deeper, like the center of the whole dream world. Patrick tilts his head. Whoa, maybe that's where all the snacks come from. He starts floating upward toward it. As he moves, his reflection in the nearby bubbles drifts alongside him, soft, transparent, and glowing faintly. Each reflection shows him smiling, but there's something deeper there, a childlike peace, an innocence that feels more dreamlike than silly. The spiral grows larger. Within its light, tiny figures begin to move other versions of Patrick, smaller, like glowing memories. They drift through the spiral, chasing one another, laughing silently. Some hold jellyfish nets. Others eat Krabby Patties that sparkle like jewels. Patrick slows down, gazing in awe. They look happy. He doesn't say it in his usual goofy tone this time. His voice is quiet, filled with wonder. He floats closer until the light of the spiral washes over him completely. For a moment, everything turns white, then slowly fades back into view, revealing Patrick standing on a new kind of surface. It's not a glowing path this time. It's a seafloor of stars, a flat expanse made of faintly glowing sand that shimmers like crystal dust. Above him, countless constellations hang low, slowly rotating like a ceiling of lanterns. Patrick looks down, realizing that his own feet are leaving prints that glow brighter than the ground. He giggles softly. Heh, starlight footprints. I bet SpongeBob would totally trip on these. He starts to walk forward again, humming the melody that echoes faintly in the background. The constellations around him flicker with each note, joining his tune like a silent choir. Then, as if reacting to his song, another shape begins to form ahead. This time, the stars arrange themselves much slower, and the light they emit isn't gold or pink. It's a gentle, deep blue. The shape is familiar, but more abstract. Almost sculptural, a Krabby Patty-shaped moon. Patrick stops walking. Whoa, my favorite food, but in space. The glowing Patty moon rotates slowly, shining down soft rays that scatter across the starlit seafloor. The light isn't sharp, it's calm, dreamlike, like moonlight seen through deep water. The camera moves upward, showing Patrick's silhouette walking beneath the massive, glowing shape, its reflection bending across the surface like liquid glass. He raises both arms, basking in the glow. This is the best midnight snack dream ever. As the Patty moon glows brighter, the scene subtly changes tone again. The background melody slows, the lights fade to softer hues. Bubbles drift lazily upward, reflecting tiny versions of Patrick walking below. The dream world seems to breathe, exhaling calm into the scene. Patrick yawned, still smiling. Snack later. Nap now. He lies back gently on the glowing ground, arms spread wide, watching the stars spin slowly above him. His eyelids grow heavy and his breathing slows. The constellations dim one by one, until only the Krabby Patty moon remains. It pulses once, twice, and then releases a faint ring of light that expands outward across the seafloor. Wherever the ring passes, tiny new stars are born like the dream creating new dreams. Patrick's voice, half asleep, mumbles softly. Wow. Stars make more stars. Like jellyfish having jellyfish. Time seems to slow around Patrick as the starlit ocean breathes in and out. He's no longer walking or floating. He's simply being suspended in the middle of something that feels endless and gentle. The Krabby Patty moon hovers above him, bathing the world in pale light. The bubbles that once danced around now drift quietly, weightless, glowing like tiny souls returning home. Every movement feels slowed, intentional, as if the entire dream wants to savor its own beauty. Patrick sighs softly, still half asleep, half dreaming. His voice echoes faintly in the vastness. Everything's so pretty, and shiny and soft. I wish I could stay forever. The camera pans slowly around him, wide, circular movement, revealing that the sky has expanded even further. The constellations have multiplied. New shapes glimmer above a clarinet made of blue sparks, Squidwards. A squirrel silhouette with a golden glow, Sandy's, and a dollar sign constellation, shimmering red and green, Mr. Krabs. Patrick blinks lazily, recognizing each one with a sleepy smile. Oh, my friends made it to the sky too. Good job, stars. As he speaks, the constellations seem to respond. Faint pulses of light ripple outward like laughter carried through the sea. The music underneath swells with warmth, delicate and nostalgic. The harp melody from before returns, but now layered with soft violins, creating the feeling of slow awakening. Patrick sits up on the glowing ground and stretches, arms wide, his star-shaped body framed by swirling bubbles. Each movement releases a shimmer of light that drifts away into the distance. He tilts his head and squints upward. Wonder if I can reach one? He begins to float upward again, following a new trail of bubbles that spiral gently toward a cluster of lights above him. These stars glow differently. They flicker in a pattern, forming words he can't read but somehow understands. It feels like the dream is speaking in its own silent language. The closer Patrick gets, the more the world around him fades to soft gradients of lavender and pale cayenne. His voice becomes softer, too, almost childlike. Are you the snack stars? A deep, low hum resonates through the dream. The stars respond by forming a shape this time. It's not food or a jellyfish or anything silly. It's something simple and pure, a heart. The glowing heart made of stars pulses slowly, beating in rhythm with the faint underwater hum. Every beat releases ripples of light that travel outward, touching every corner of the dream, illuminating constellations, awakening new bubbles, and reflecting across Patrick's round eyes. He places a hand over his chest, smiling in that innocent way only Patrick can. Oh, it's warm. Guess the stars like me. He laughs quietly, but then the laugh fades into silence as he watches the glowing heart beat slower and slower until it merges with the rest of the sky. The dream world, once filled with playful shapes and glowing creatures, begins to dissolve into a smooth ocean of faint light. It's no longer made of individual stars. It's become one vast glow, a blanket of calm that stretches endlessly. Patrick floats in the middle of it, eyes half closed, smiling peacefully. He drifts onto his back again, resting his hands on his tummy. Tiny bubbles float up from beneath him, wrapping around him like a cocoon of light. Each one hums softly, almost like breathing. The camera begins to zoom out. From above, Patrick is just a small pink glow surrounded by infinite blues and silvers. The dream breathes alive but calm, as if cradling him to sleep. Soft narration begins. It could be Patrick's inner voice, slow and sleepy. When I close my eyes, I see light. When I laugh, it makes more light. Maybe dreams are just the ocean, remembering our smiles. His words echo faintly as the background fades into layers of light fog and shimmering particles. Suddenly, a single large bubble floats down from above, landing right next to Patrick. It's perfectly clear, glowing faintly from within. Inside the bubble is a reflection, not of Patrick this time, but of Bikini Bottom. He can see his friend's SpongeBob's pineapple glowing warmly, Squidward's house dim but calm, jellyfish fields swaying under moonlight. Patrick stares at it in wonder. Oh, home. He touches the bubble gently, and the reflection ripples like water. The light spreads outward, mixing with the other stars. His surroundings begin to shift again. The once infinite glow starts to form patterns, as if the dream is gently stitching itself into a memory. The ocean of light dims, colors softening to warm yellows and faint pinks. The heart-shaped constellation appears once more, now smaller, drifting down toward Patrick. It hovers just above him, pulsing faintly. Patrick whispers, eyes half closed. "Good night, little light." The constellation slowly descends until it rests on his chest, glowing brighter for one last moment, and then fades completely, melting into a gentle sparkle that becomes part of him. The camera lingers on Patrick's peaceful face, surrounded by slow-moving bubbles. His breathing syncs with the distant hum of the ocean. A few stars continue to shimmer faintly above, but they're no longer forming shapes. They're simply drifting, quiet, content. Patrick drifts slowly through the glow, his eyes blinking open. He floats upside down for a moment, his body turning lazily in the weightless dream current. Around him, the water glitters with countless bubbles, each one catching light like tiny diamonds. "Ooh," he whispers, voice echoing softly, drawn out and amazed. Every sound feels stretched in this dream world. Even his laughter has a gentle delay, like it's bouncing off invisible clouds. Above him, something begins to glow brighter. A faint shimmer appears, not sharp, not sudden, but slow and magical, like dawn rising through velvet. Patrick tilts his head, squinting. The shimmer expands, and soon he can see them. Hundreds of glowing jellyfish, drifting together in elegant motion. Each one shines with its own soft hue, rose pinks, icy blues, pearlescent whites. Their tendrils float like ribbons of light, leaving trails that curve and spiral behind them. They're not random, they move together in rhythm, forming vast circles that pulse like galaxies being born. Patrick gasps softly, his mouth forming a perfect O. He kicks his feet and starts swimming toward them, arms waving through the glowing mist. "Hi there, floaty star squishies," he calls out cheerfully. His voice is muffled by the dreamy water, but the jellyfish seem to understand. They begin to pulse in response, their bodies flashing in soft blinks of light, pink, blue, white, pink, blue, as if they're waving back. Patrick giggles uncontrollably. "They're saying hello! Ha ha! I knew it." He twirls in the water, leaving behind a trail of bubbles that sparkle and rise like mini comets. As he spins, the camera rotates with him, a 360-degree spiral, around his glowing body, revealing that the jellyfish have surrounded him completely now. They move in graceful orbits, forming circles upon circles, glowing mandalas of light drifting through the dream sea. Each pulse of light from the jellyfish syncs perfectly with the music, soft synth tones that chime gently, like starlight turned into sound. The melody drifts, playful but serene, its notes dancing between waves of laughter that echo faintly into the distance. Patrick floats through the glowing patterns, stretching his arms out like he's swimming through stars. Every time he touches a jellyfish, its body glows brighter for a second, leaving behind a streak of light that lingers like a shooting star underwater. "Oh, sparkly trails," he says, watching one swirl around him. "It's like jelly art." He starts playfully swimming in figure eights, tracing shapes in the water as jellyfish follow his movement, mimicking his path. Soon the entire field of glowing creatures becomes a living canvas. Trails of light overlapping, curling, forming loops and spirals that stretch far into the horizon. The camera pans out wide shot. Patrick is a tiny, glowing figure in the middle of a vast sea of luminous patterns. Each jellyfish's path looks like a stroke of paint, glowing and fading slowly, building layers of living light around him. He stops spinning and looks around in awe. Did I make all that? The jellyfish blink in soft patterns, forming a heart shape around him. Patrick claps his hands excitedly. "Oh, thanks. You guys are nice." He drifts slowly upward, resting his arms behind his head. You remind me of jellyfish, but like extra sparkly." A nearby jellyfish bobs close, brushing against his cheek gently with its glowing tendrils. Patrick giggles, eyes crossing as he tries to look at it. "That tickles!" The light from the jellyfish reflects in his eyes, making them look like twin stars. He watches the creature swim away, leaving behind a trail that spirals upward into the sky, and then, to his amazement, that trail stays. It doesn't fade like before. It sticks, twinkling faintly. Patrick tilts his head. "Huh? Why didn't that one go away?" He looks up, noticing the glowing trail stretch farther and farther until it forms a long, thin line that curves and connects with another jellyfish's path, then another, and another. Before his eyes, the trails begin to link together, creating a vast web of glowing lines across the dream sky. The jellyfish themselves drift outward, their bodies pulsing as they anchor each point of light, and Patrick gasps as he realizes what's happening. They're making a constellation, a jellyfish constellation. The entire sea above him transforms, glowing tendrils weaving and curving, connecting points of light into the enormous shape of a jellyfish in the sky. Its long trails of starlight sway slowly, like curtains in the current. Patrick floats backward in awe, whispering, "Wow, it's like a big glowing spaghetti fish." The constellation pulses once, sending ripples through the dream ocean. Each pulse releases hundreds of smaller jellyfish, who drift downward like glowing raindrops. Patrick spins again, laughing joyfully as they float past him. Some land gently on his head, glowing faintly before drifting off again. He opens his mouth in a big, happy smile. "You guys are so cool. It's like we're having a light party." The background begins to shimmer, colors deepening into vivid pinks and electric blues. Trails of light scatter across the ocean floor below, creating the illusion of a mirrored sky. Now it looks like Patrick is floating between two heavens, one above, one below, both glowing with thousands of drifting jellyfish stars. Soft bubbles float upward, reflecting his face again and again, like infinite mirrors. Each reflection shows Patrick smiling, laughing, floating freely, a small pink spark in a galaxy of light. As the music swells, his movements become more fluid, almost dance-like. He somersaults slowly, then glides forward, trailing his fingers through the glowing ribbons left by the jellyfish. Each touch adds another spark to the constellation web above, connecting the lights even more. The sound design grows richer, shimmering synths, blending with faint harp notes and ocean chimes, creating a rhythm like heartbeat and breath combined. Patrick pauses, floating mid-spin, arms open wide. He whispers softly, "Everything's glowing, like my brain when I think about ice cream." The dream itself seems to laugh. A series of echoing giggles ripple through the water, perfectly matching his tone. Patrick chuckles too, looking around like he just heard a friend's voice. "Yeah, was that you guys?" The spiral of jellyfish slowly begins to drift upward, carrying Patrick with it. He floats at the center, wrapped in soft tendrils of light. Their gentle pulses feel like a heartbeat, one big, glowing, cosmic rhythm that connects everything in this strange dream sea. Patrick looks around with wide eyes. "Whoa, am I flying or floating?" He wiggles his arms lazily, watching the light shimmer across his pink skin. "Maybe both. I'm float flying." Heh. The camera pans outward, a wide shot of Patrick gliding upward through a vortex of luminous creatures. Trails of soft light spiral around him, fading into the dark blue above. Every movement feels slow, graceful, like he's inside a living aurora. The glowing jellyfish rearrange themselves, forming clusters that move like musical notes. They pulse in repeating sequences, bright, dim, bright, bright, dim in perfect harmony with the music. Patrick squints, tilting his head. "Huh? Are you guys dancing?" The jellyfish pause, then pulse twice in unison, as if answering yes. Patrick gasps, his eyes lighting up. "Oh, I can dance too." He begins to flap his arms, kicking his legs in slow motion. His movements are goofy, but the jellyfish mimic him anyway. Hundreds of glowing forms spinning in perfect sync with Patrick's underwater dance. Each wave of his arm leaves behind a glowing streak of bubbles. The jellyfish weave through them, creating elegant ribbons of light that twist and curl like floating calligraphy. "Look, I'm a glow artist." Patrick laughs, tracing a giant heart shape in the water. The jellyfish swirl through it, lighting it up with pulsing pinks and blues until the entire heart shape shimmers like a constellation made of neon silk. "Pretty," he sighs, spinning slowly inside it. "If only SpongeBob could see this, he'd probably say, 'Patrick, you're a genius.'" He chuckles softly, then lowers his voice in an imitation of SpongeBob. "Patrick, how'd you do that?" Patrick grins. "I don't know, SpongeBob. Maybe the stars just like me." The laughter echoes across the water, stretching into the distance, a soft, warm sound that makes the entire dream glow brighter. The jellyfish begin to drift in front of him, rearranging themselves again. Slowly, their light trails form patterns in the sky shapes that morph and shift as Patrick watches. One cluster becomes a glowing Krabby Patty, complete with shining sesame seed stars. Another becomes a bubble spatula twirling slowly through space. Patrick claps, thrilled. "Ha-ha, you guys made a snack sky, my favorite kind." A few of the jellyfish pulse brighter, their lights flickering like giggles. Patrick leans closer to one. "Can you make, a jellyfish shaped like me?" The creatures move instantly, swirling together. Their lights merge, overlap, and suddenly there it is, a massive glowing outline of Patrick's star made entirely from jellyfish and bubbles. It's not perfect. Its arms are wobbly, and one leg is a little longer than the other, but it's unmistakably him. Patrick gasps and bursts out laughing. That's me. Look, you got my belly just right. He floats backward, admiring his glowing reflection in the dream sky. The jellyfish Patrick waves once, its tendrils rippling like a friendly smile. For a few seconds, everything slows down. The camera zooms out Patrick, small and glowing pink, drifting in the center of an infinite sea of light, surrounded by living constellations shaped like his memories and his favorite things. The music softens the synths, fading into a tender harp sound, each note echoing like a heartbeat. Patrick looks around quietly, eyes half closed, whispering, "Wow, it's like the stars were always watching, but now they're playing." His voice fades into the distance, replaced by the sound of slow-moving bubbles rising past him. He stretches his arms wide and lets himself drift backward, free-falling slowly through the glowing currents. The jellyfish follow him like falling lanterns, their light flickering in time with his breath. A wide shot shows him descending through the ocean of stars, each jellyfish leaving a trail that paints the water in ribbons of color: turquoise, lavender, silver whites. The whole scene feels like a cosmic dance between laughter and silence, light and stillness. As he falls deeper, the trails around him begin to merge. The glowing tendrils swirl together, forming one enormous spiral like a galaxy made of jellyfish. At the very center of the spiral, something new begins to shimmer, a single bright bubble glowing with pure light. Patrick drifts closer, curious. The jellyfish part gracefully, clearing a path for him. The glowing bubble floats before him, reflecting his face perfectly. But this time his reflection isn't smiling. It looks thoughtful, calm, and a little sleepy. He tilts his head, whispering, "You look tired, buddy." The reflection blinks slowly, then smiles back. Patrick giggles, eyes soft. "Hey, good talk." He gently pokes the bubble, and it bursts in complete silence. For a split second, the entire scene freezes. Then the light from the popped bubble expands outward like ripples from a stone dropped in a pond, and suddenly everything starts glowing brighter. The jellyfish swirl into motion again, racing through the water, leaving luminous trails that form new constellations across the dream sea. Patrick floats among them, spinning slowly, laughing again, but this time his laughter sounds different, softer, almost sleepy. He stretches, yawns, and murmurs, "So many stars, and they're all made of jelly." A dreamy pause. Maybe that's why they wiggle so much. The camera drifts slowly around him, circling closer. His eyelids flutter as he watches the jellyfish pulse in rhythmic patterns, slower and slower, as if the entire ocean's beginning to fall asleep with him. One jellyfish floats near, brushing his arm gently. Its tendrils wrap around his wrist for a moment, glowing softly, almost like a bracelet of light. Patrick looks at it fondly. "Thanks, glowy friend," he whispers. "You make the dark feel shiny." The creature pulses once more, then drifts upward, its light fading into the stars. Patrick watches until it disappears, then closes his eyes and lets himself drift, smiling faintly. Above him, the jellyfish constellations begin to dim. Their glowing trails slowly fade, leaving behind faint outlines of where they were, soft marks of memory written across the sea sky. Only a few small bubbles remain, drifting lazily upward, catching the last bits of light. The dream sea glimmers brighter than ever, a vast, endless canvas of living light. Patrick, still floating weightlessly, notices how the jellyfish trails linger wherever he waves his hand. The faint, glowing paths twist and shimmer before fading slowly. He stares at them, eyes wide with wonder. "Oh, I can draw in the sky?" He grins, and without hesitation, starts waving his arms like an underwater artist. Each gesture leaves behind ribbons of radiant blue and pink. When he spins, they twist into spirals. When he kicks, they scatter like glitter in a current. The jellyfish follow his movements, their glowing bodies tracing the paths he creates, and soon the darkness around him is filled with shapes. Let's see. A Krabby Patty, and a donut. Oh, and a big star that looks like me eating them both. The glowing lines bend into comical constellations, a giant sandwich surrounded by tiny stars shaped like bite marks. Patrick floats back to admire his creation, laughing softly. Heh, I should show this to SpongeBob. He'd call it art. The camera slowly pans around him wide, circular motion showing his star drawings, shimmering across the horizon. Each one pulses gently, alive with soft energy. The lines glow, then fade as if they're breathing. Suddenly the jellyfish begin to pulse together once, twice, and then scatter into motion. They weave through Patrick's glowing lines, adding detail and motion to his floating sketches. The Krabby Patty begins to rotate. The donut sparkles with small, glittering sprinkles made of light. The Patrick-shaped star blinks once, smiling. Patrick gasps, pointing in delight. Whoa, it's alive! Look at me! I blinked! He laughs so hard that bubbles escape from his mouth, floating upward like tiny stars joining the sky. The bubbles catch the same glow as the constellations, turning into tiny planets that orbit his jellyfish galaxy. The dream seems to pulse with life as if Patrick's joy itself is fueling it. Every time he giggles, a new star appears. Every time he moves, another pattern forms. Soon he's surrounded by shapes, constellations of jellyfish that look like old memories. There's SpongeBob blowing bubbles beside the Krusty Krab. There's Gary chasing a tiny snail constellation. There's Squidward frowning, his arms crossed, but his outline made of glowing notes from a clarinet. Even Sandy appears a glowing squirrel shape floating in her air dome, waving softly from afar. Patrick's eyes glisten as he looks at them all. Wow, everyone's here. The whole sky is full of my friends. He drifts quietly for a moment, the laughter fading into a soft, emotional calm. The music slows, a gentle hum mixed with harp and soft synths, as the glowing constellations swirl around him like a living memory map. Patrick whispers, I didn't know stars could feel like hugs. The jellyfish nearest to him flickers softly, brushing against his arm as if answering him. He smiles sleepily. Yeah? I guess hugs come in all shapes. He floats among them for a while, eyes tracing every glowing friend. The dream feels infinite, and yet safe, like the whole ocean is breathing in rhythm with him. Then from the distance a new light appears, faint at first, then growing steadily. It's not a jellyfish this time, it's rounder, smoother, a glowing sphere, pulsing in slow, steady beats. Patrick tilts his head. Hey, what's that? Another star sandwich? He drifts closer. The light expands gently, showing patterns inside constellations, forming within it, swirling like reflections in glass. The closer he gets, the clearer it becomes. It's not just a light. It's a mirror bubble. Inside it, Patrick can see his starry creations, all his constellations, all his glowing friends spinning together like a galaxy. His mouth opens in awe. Whoa, it's like my dream is inside my dream. He giggles softly. Dreamception. The bubble flickers, pulsing once as if agreeing with him. The jellyfish hover nearby, watching silently, their lights dimmed in reverence. Patrick presses his hands gently against the glowing bubble, peering into it. Inside, he sees smaller versions of the jellyfish, swimming through starlight. shaping his silly constellations again and again like an infinite reflection. He whispers, "That's me," over and over, making stars forever. His voice carries a soft awe, the kind that only comes when something beautiful becomes too big to understand. The music swells slightly, violins made of glowing notes, the sound echoing through the water. Patrick smiles faintly, whispering, "Guess even stars like bedtime stories." As he watches, the constellations inside the bubble begin to shift. The star-shaped Patrick slowly drifts apart, and the jellyfish within swirl upward, merging into one brilliant light. It pulses brighter and brighter until Patrick has to shield his eyes. Then suddenly, the glowing sphere bursts, but silently, without chaos. The light from it spreads outward like a wave of peace, illuminating everything around him. The jellyfish catch the light, their tendrils gleaming with silver, and Patrick floats in the center of it all, small but radiant. He stretches his arms out and whispers, "Good night, stars." The jellyfish slowly start to move again, circling him in gentle loops. Their light fades into pastel tones, pink, gold, and mint green, as if the whole dream is winding down. Patrick yawns, floating backward into the soft current. The constellations fade one by one, leaving trails that dissolve into the darkness. Each fading shape feels like a candle being blown out, one after another, peaceful, never sad. As the lights dim, one jellyfish lingers near him. It hovers close to his face, its glow warm and soft. Patrick blinks drowsily and whispers, "Thanks for playing, little light." The jellyfish pulses once, almost like a nod, and then slowly floats upward, a single glowing dot, ascending into the distance. Patrick's eyes follow it until it's gone. Then he murmurs, "I guess stars are just jellyfish that learned how to float forever." For a while, Patrick drifts silently through the fading glow. The sea feels lighter now, slower, calmer, as if the entire dream has taken a deep breath and decided to rest. The last of the jellyfish have become distant sparkles, little stars hiding beneath waves of silver-blue mist. Patrick rubs his eyes and yawns, his voice floating lazily through the soft current. "Hee. Stars sure know how to party." He tilts backward and floats on his back, arms stretched wide, staring at the sky above. The surface of the dream sea has turned transparent, and through it he can see the real night sky above the ocean, twinkling faintly. The two worlds, one of jellyfish, one of stars, seem to overlap perfectly. Patrick giggles. "Oh, it's like the ocean's wearing a mirror hat." He reaches upward, and his hand seems to touch the stars through the water. Ripples of light spread out from his fingers, joining with the constellations he drew earlier. For a second, the stars shimmer as if waving back. Patrick smiles sleepily. "Hi again." The camera begins to drift upward, panning slowly through the layers of glowing current pink to violet to pale gold, each one fading softer than the last. The music becomes airy, only a few notes of piano and shimmering synth, echoing like gentle bells underwater. As Patrick watches, something begins to change in the light. The glowing trails that once marked his drawing start to curl inward, folding gracefully like ribbons being pulled by an unseen tide. One by one, the constellations gather themselves, the Krabby Patty, the donut, the Squidward notes, the sandy dome, all blending together into a slow, glowing swirl. Patrick blinks. "Hey, where are you guys going?" He swims forward a bit, waving his arms gently, but the glowing shapes keep folding into each other, smaller, until they form a single glowing spiral. It pulses softly, like a heart. Patrick tilts his head. "Oh, you're going home." He smiles faintly. Guess it's bedtime for stars, too. The jellyfish reappear, gathering near the spiral, their soft pink and blue glows flickering like lanterns. They seem to dance one final time, a slow, graceful motion, drifting in unison. Each pulse of light matches the rhythm of the music, like a lullaby built out of waves. Patrick begins to hum along. At first, it's random offbeat, silly, but soon his hum matches the rhythm, becoming something strangely beautiful, almost sacred. The jellyfish circle closer, forming a ring of light around him, and Patrick, still humming, twirls once in the center. For a moment, it looks like he's part of a galaxy made of laughter and dreams. Then the lights begin to dim again. The jellyfish drift away, one by one, fading into the dark sea beyond. The spiral light shrinks into a tiny point and vanishes like a candle wink. Patrick stops humming. Silence fills the water. He blinks around. Everything is calm again. No glowing trails, no floating stars, just the soft darkness of the deep sea, the faint shimmer of moonlight above. The dream has thinned into quiet reality. Patrick sighs contentedly. Well, that was fun. He looks down and notices the faintest specks of light still clinging to his arms and belly, little dots of stardust that glimmer faintly whenever he moves. He wiggles his fingers, watching the sparkles dance. Hey, I guess I'm a little bit starry now, too. The camera pulls back slowly. The soft sound of bubbles drifts upward, mixing with gentle waves and faint nighttime sounds, distant whale hums, a soft breeze through coral towers. Patrick floats peacefully, his eyes half closed. His laughter, once bright and echoing, now turns into sleepy murmurs. Good night, stars. Good night, fishies. Good night, me. He begins to drift downward, the ocean cradling him like a blanket. A few tiny jellyfish linger around him, pale white now, almost invisible, like guardian lights watching over his sleep. The scene slows even more, as if time itself is drowsy. The camera pans wide Patrick lying in the middle of a vast, dark sea, the last of the glowing trails curling like smoke around him. Above, the moon glows faintly through the water, sending down a silver beam that settles gently over his resting form. As the music fades, we hear one last soft sound, Patrick's quiet voice murmuring between dreams. Stars are just dreams that got stuck in the sky. He smiles, then drifts into peaceful silence. The frame begins to blur, soft mist flowing in from the edges, blending dream and water together. The pink-blue gradient returns faintly, but muted now, as if everything has gone to sleep. The light slowly shifts into a pastel dawn tone. In the distance, the horizon brightens slightly, showing silhouettes of coral hills and kelp forests swaying gently. A few jellyfish rise toward the surface, glowing faintly like memories of the dream slipping away with the night tide. Patrick stirs once, yawns, and opens one eye halfway. I must have dozed off. SpongeBob's gonna think I ate the stars again. He laughs weakly, then rolls over on the ocean floor, still smiling. A small shell floats by and settles near his hand. Without looking, he picks it up and hugs it like a pillow. Good night, little shell. You can dream too. The world around him feels vast, endless waves of glowing dots, suspended in dark blue, each one pulsing softly as if breathing. He blinks, amazed. Wow, it's like a whole snack of sparkles. He drifts lazily between the lights, brushing his hand through them. The glowing orbs scatter into swirls and streams, dancing around him like friendly fireflies. Some gather together, forming faint outlines, shapes that shift and shimmer before his eyes. Patrick squints, tilting his head. Hey, that one looks like a Krabby Patty. And that one looks like... Oh, a donut. He laughs, bubbles escaping from his mouth like tiny pearls. The stars flicker brighter in response, as if laughing with him. But then something changes. The lights begin to gather with purpose. One by one they align, creating trails that twist and curve across the dark sea. Slowly, softly, they start to form something familiar. Patrick's eyes widen. Wait a second. That looks like SpongeBob? Sure enough, glowing outlines begin to appear, a constellation shaped exactly like SpongeBob, arms raised in excitement, spatula in hand. His star eyes blink playfully as tiny bubbles sparkle around them like freckles of light. Patrick gasps in joy. SpongeBob! You made it to the sky, too! You're a sparkle fry cook! He waves at the constellation, and it waves back a shimmer of light, moving across the stars like a gentle hello. The motion is so vivid it almost feels alive. Patrick drifts closer, giggling. You look kind of different, buddy. More shiny than usual. He snorts, then adds softly, Don't tell Squidward, or he'll get all tentacle-twisty again. The star SpongeBob glows a little brighter, as if amused. Patrick's laughter echoes gently through the dream world. The camera pans slowly, showing more constellations forming behind him. The jellyfish stars from before spiral outward, lighting new pathways across the ocean sky. Trails of golden bubbles join together, outlining new figures. The next one that appears is Squidward. But instead of looking annoyed, his starlit face seems calm, almost peaceful. The constellation shows him sitting with a clarinet, tiny musical bubbles drifting out and popping into starbursts. Patrick gasps again. Squidward, you're up here too? He squints at the constellation and laughs. Huh. I bet even your music sounds better when it's made of stars. The glowing Squidward doesn't respond, but the musical bubbles twinkle gently, creating faint notes that drift through the water like whispers of melody. The soft tune blends into the background tranquil, almost jazzy, matching the slow rhythm of Patrick's floating. The dreamscape now glows brighter, each constellation connected by ribbons of light, like threads of friendship woven across the sky. Patrick twirls in place, looking all around him with childlike wonder. Wow, my friends are everywhere. It's like the whole gang came to my nap. He drifts toward another formation, a swirling constellation shaped like a sandy mid-karate pose. Each punch she throws releases tiny bursts of starlight that bloom like fireworks before dissolving into soft clouds. Patrick chuckles. Ha ha. Even in dreams, she's still training. Hi, Sandy. Don't karate the stars too hard. They're delicate. The Sandy constellation flashes once, almost like a wink, then settles into calm motion again. Around him, the constellations continued to form, one shaped like Mr. Krabs counting glowing coins, another like Pearl twirling through waves of soft pink stars, her laughter faint but melodic. Even Gary appears as a tiny shell-shaped star cluster that leaves glittery snail trails through the void. Patrick places both hands on his cheeks, beaming. All my friends, they're up here too, all together. The moment feels magical. The camera pulls back to show Patrick in the center of a massive, living tapestry of constellations. They float like stories written in light, each one glowing with movement and warmth. Tiny jellyfish swim between them, tracing patterns that connect every friend with the glowing trails. The result looks like a giant web of starlight, each intersection a heartbeat, each line a memory. The music swells shimmering harps, soft, oceanic chimes as Patrick spins slowly in the center, arms outstretched, completely mesmerized. He whispers, "It's like the stars are remembering us." A slow zoom on Patrick's face, eyes wide, filled with reflection. The glow of the stars dances across his features, making him look both small and infinite at the same time. For the first time in his dream, he seemed still simply feeling. His voice grows soft. "I always thought stars were far away, but maybe they're closer than we think." A tiny bubble drifts from his mouth, rises toward the constellations, and bursts, releasing a faint shimmer that joins the lights. The constellation SpongeBob catches it and sends it spinning like a frisbee toward Squidward's, who lazily bounces it with his clarinet. The bubble drifts toward Sandy's, who kicks it high, and the glowing bubble arcs perfectly across the entire dream sky, tracing a streak of gold. Patrick gasps and cheers. "Whoa, nice kick, Sandy." As the golden streak fades, the stars around it pulse gently as if laughing along. The camera tilts upward. The whole ocean sky now shimmers with shared light. Each friend's constellation connected to the next SpongeBob to Squidward, Squidward to Sandy, Sandy to Mr. Krabs, all the way around until it circles back to Patrick. He watches, smiling softly, then whispers to himself, "It's like we're all one big sky." He closes his eyes and floats in silence, the stars gently pulsing around him, as if matching the rhythm of his slow, peaceful heartbeat. The soundscape fades into faint hums and soft echoes, like the ocean singing lullabies made of memories. The screen slowly fades into lavender blue tones, leaving Patrick drifting among the glowing silhouettes of his friends, all suspended in the sea of stars. The ocean sky hums softly as Patrick floats among the glowing constellations of his friends. Every bubble of light around him pulses in rhythm, slow, gentle, alive. The jellyfish stars drift through the darkness, leaving ripples of pastel color, while far below, the outlines of coral mountains gleam faintly, like a world made of moonlight. Patrick gazes at all of it in silent awe. His body moves slowly, arms outstretched, as if trying to hug the entire sky. "I didn't know dreams could feel this big," he murmurs. "It's like the whole ocean is saying goodnight." The constellations pulse brighter, each one answering in its own way. SpongeBob's golden glow flickers like laughter. Sandy's silver light sparks and swirls, releasing tiny bubble stars that spin around Patrick. Squidward's turquoise constellation stretches lazily, forming smooth ripples that play soft notes like a clarinet echo. Patrick giggles. "You guys always know how to make me smile." Then something extraordinary begins to happen. The constellations move. Slowly, as if waking from a long, peaceful nap, the glowing outlines of his friends shift positions in the water sky. SpongeBob drifts closer to Patrick, his outline rotating gently. Sandy's constellation flips mid-air, landing beside SpongeBob's, and Mr. Krabs twirls upward, tossing coin-shaped sparkles that burst into small bubbles of light. Patrick's jaw drops. "Whoa, are you all dancing?" He floats backward to watch. The stars continue their graceful motion, glowing trails looping between them like ribbons. It's not random. It's like they're performing a slow cosmic waltz. Squidward's clarinet hum changes from a slow tune to a graceful melody that flows through the sea sky like liquid glass. The bubbles respond, vibrating softly, scattering sparkles everywhere. Patrick watches, eyes wide. It's like the universe made a song just for us. The camera pans outward, a wide, panoramic shot showing the glowing ocean sky filled with constellations swirling in motion. Their light waves travel outward, turning dark water into shimmering curtains of color teal, rose, lavender, and gold, blending into one great aurora. Patrick laughs as the glow reflects in his eyes. He starts to spin with them, arms open, belly jiggling, his starfish limbs twirling like a child in a bubble storm. Each time he moves, bubbles rise and float around him, joining the dance. The constellations drift closer, forming a circle around him. SpongeBob to his left, Sandy and Krabs to his right, Squidward floating just above like a glowing conductor, and Pearl's pink figure shimmering in the background. Patrick slows his spin, floating in the middle of them, grinning from ear to ear. He whispers, "You all followed me here, even in dreams." SpongeBob's glow flickers, two bubbles pop, forming the faint outline of a smile. Patrick chuckles softly. You're right. You always follow me everywhere, even when I nap." Mr. Krabs' constellation tosses another handful of glowing coins upward. The bubbles pop into tiny sparkles that swirl around Patrick's head like a crown. Patrick gasps, "Oh, shiny! Thanks, Mr. Krabs." The laughter echoes faintly warm, distant yet real. The sound seems to travel through the stars themselves. Then Sandy's constellation steps forward. Her silver light brightens, casting a soft beam across Patrick's face. Within the light, faint shapes appear, blurry flashes of real memories. Sandy's tree dome, her karate kicks, her helmet reflecting sunlight. Patrick's smile softens. Wow, it's like I'm remembering everything at once. He closes his eyes. Around him, the memories shimmer, replaying silently in the glow. SpongeBob and Patrick catching jellyfish, Krabs counting his coins, Squidward groaning while they laugh, Sandy tinkering in her dome. The colors blend into one another until it feels like the whole ocean is breathing their laughter. When Patrick opens his eyes again, the constellations are closer surrounding him like a family. Their light connects in strands, glowing brighter than before. It's as if the dream itself has decided to remind him, "You're never really alone." Patrick's eyes glisten. "You know, I always thought stars were just dots. But now," he presses a hand to his chest, "now they feel like hearts." The lights pulse in agreement, one slow heartbeat shared across the dream. Then silence. The clarinet fades. The hum of the ocean stills. Every bubble pauses mid-air. Patrick floats, confused in the sudden stillness. Did someone pause the dream?" he whispers. But no one answers. The constellations stop moving. Their lights soften to a dim glow, calm, quiet, patient. Patrick tilts his head. "Oh, wait. You're not gone, are you?" He drifts closer to SpongeBob's outline, pressing his palm against the glowing light. It's warm, soft, and slightly wobbly, like touching a living memory. He smiles faintly. "You're all still here. You're just resting." The glow pulses once affirming, gentle. Patrick takes a deep breath. His voice softens. "I get it now. You're my stars even when it's dark. You don't have to shine all the time to be my friends." A quiet shimmer spreads outward, and suddenly the whole dream starts to glow again. Not too bright, just enough to look like dawn arriving beneath the sea. The constellations light up together, forming new shapes. Their lines connect and twist, creating one giant figure, a glowing starfish. Patrick gasps. "That's me!" The great starfish shape shines brilliantly, a mixture of yellow, blue, and pink hues forming a giant version of Patrick across the sky. All his friend's stars move into place, forming the outline of his arms, legs, and smile. Patrick laughs in disbelief. "You guys have made a me out of you." The giant starfish flickers warmly. Its glow reflects on Patrick's face, and his expression turns soft, deeply touched. "That's the nicest thing anyone's ever done for me." The dream sky ripples, and bubbles drift upward like slow snow. The giant starfish begins to dissolve gently, scattering light particles that swirl around Patrick. He closes his eyes, letting the glow wash over him. Each particle that touches his skin releases a faint whisper, bits of laughter, small memories, voices of his friends. SpongeBob's laugh, Sandy's yee-haw, Squidward's sigh, Mr. Crab's chuckle, Pearl's giggle. Patrick floats, surrounded by those echoes, smiling like a child who's found peace in a bedtime story. The light begins to dim again, fading into deep midnight blue. Patrick whispers softly, almost like a prayer. "Good night, everyone." His words echo across the ocean sky, fading with the glow. The camera pans upward, a slow tilt, revealing the full expanse of the sea sky once more. The constellations settle, their motions slowing to stillness, forming one last peaceful mural of friendship. Patrick floats in stillness, surrounded by the dim shimmer of his friends' fading constellations. The once vibrant colors now shift into softer tones, pale blue, silver, and lavender, blending into a quiet glow that feels like morning light beneath the sea. He turns slowly, watching the last traces of their cosmic dance fade into the deep. The silence feels comforting, not empty, a silence filled with memory. A faint current brushes against him, like a whisper. Tiny bubbles swirl upward in slow spirals, their reflections glinting on Patrick's face. He blinks, whispering softly. "Guess it's almost time to wake up, huh?" The stars above pulse gently like a goodbye wave. Patrick smiles, but his eyes glisten. "Don't worry. I'll remember all of this, every bubble, every glow." The soft melody from earlier returns a lullaby of ocean currents and twinkling chimes. It wraps around Patrick like a warm blanket. He drifts backward, looking up at the shimmering sea sky. The giant starfish constellation that once glowed so brightly now dissolves into thousands of tiny specks, each carrying a faint echo of laughter. Patrick stretches out his hand as if to catch one. "Hey, come back here, little me." A single bubble drifts down toward him, glowing golden inside. Patrick cups it gently, gazing through its clear surface. Inside, he sees something, a flicker of light, like a tiny memory playing in miniature. It's him and SpongeBob, sitting on the sand, eating Krabby Patties under the stars. SpongeBob laughs so hard he almost drops his burger, and Patrick joins in, both of them rolling in the sand, glowing with pure joy. Patrick chuckles softly at the tiny image. "Heh, we always have the best nights, huh, buddy?" The bubble pops. But the laughter continues to echo faintly through the water like a sound remembered by the sea itself. Patrick exhales contentedly. "Yeah, that's okay. I'll see you again soon." He begins to drift upward. The camera follows him slowly, bubbles trailing behind like a glowing tail. As he rises, the constellations begin to rearrange once more, no longer in shapes of friends, but in patterns of stars forming hearts, waves, and spiral galaxies. Each pulse of light seems to say, "Thank you, goodbye, and good night," all at once. The soft hum grows deeper. It's the ocean breathing. Patrick looks around. Wow, yeah, it's all alive, everything. The stars shimmer faintly as if nodding. Then something remarkable happens. The sea sky begins to brighten from below. A faint golden glow spreads upward through the darkness, illuminating coral towers and drifting sand like sunrise reaching through water. Patrick's eyes widen. "Whoa! Is that the morning?" The camera pans down deep below. The faint outline of his rock home glows softly. The light spreads outward, turning the deep blues into pale turquoise and gold. Patrick floats higher, the constellations slowly fading behind him. "Guess that means it's time to go home," he murmurs. "Even dream stars have to sleep." As he rises, he passes through a curtain of glowing plankton. They swirl around him like tiny fireflies, leaving trails of blue light. For a moment, it looks as if he's wearing a robe of starlight, a sleepy sea king saying farewell to his own constellation kingdom. Patrick giggles. "Haha, fancy." The melody swells softly, violins mixed with ocean chimes, flowing like water. Then the scene begins to slow. Patrick's body relaxes, arms floating gently by his sides. His eyes start to flutter. The dream is ending. The constellations above shimmer one last time. A bright golden star, SpongeBob, shines a little longer than the rest. Patrick smiles faintly, half asleep. "Good night, SpongeBob." The golden light flickers, releasing a stream of glowing bubbles that drift down and surround Patrick. Each bubble glows with pale yellow light, soft and comforting. The camera pulls back slowly, wide shot, showing Patrick floating in the center of a glowing sea filled with thousands of bubbles, their light dimming slowly like candles being blown out. One by one they wink out. The last bubble bursts with a soft pop, leaving a single spark that floats gently upward and disappears. Patrick's rock lifts slightly, sunlight filtering through the sand. Inside, Patrick lies on his bed, curled up in his blankets, a faint smile still on his face. Tiny sparkles of sea dust float around him, faint remnants of his dream. He snores quietly. "Snurr, jellyfish stars. Extra pickles." SpongeBob's voice drifts in from outside. Patrick, wake up! You missed breakfast." Patrick mumbles, eyes still closed. "I was eating stars." SpongeBob giggles. "Eating stars? You sure you didn't just dream that?" Patrick slowly opens one eye, his vision still hazy from sleep. For a brief second, he sees a faint shimmer on the ceiling. Tiny dots of light forming the shape of a jellyfish. He blinks. It's gone. Patrick smiles dreamily. Maybe I did. He sits up, stretching, the soft sound of bubbles still echoing faintly in his mind. Outside, the water glows bright with morning light. The world looks clearer, warmer, softer, like his dream left behind a little bit of magic. He waddles outside, waving lazily at SpongeBob. "Morning, best buddy." SpongeBob grins. "Morning, Patrick. You look happy." Patrick chuckles. "I saw you in the stars last night." SpongeBob tilts his head. "In the stars?" Patrick nods proudly. "Yep. You, me, Sandy, Squidward, everyone. You were all shiny." SpongeBob laughs. "Wow. That sounds like a great dream." Patrick squints at the sky, still faintly shimmering with morning plankton. "It wasn't a dream," he says softly. "It was something special." SpongeBob shrugs playfully. "Well, I guess that makes us famous. We're in the stars now." Patrick bursts out laughing. "Yeah, the Patrick constellation." They both laugh, the sound echoing through the coral valley. The camera pans upwards through the sunlight, through the waves back into the open ocean sky. Patrick drifts through the dream sea, eyes wide and sparkly. His friend's constellations have faded, but the sky above still hums, faintly soft, shimmering, full of promise. A faint rumble echoes through the deep. Patrick blinks. Was that the universe? Then after a pause, his tummy gurgles. "Oh," he groans, clutching his belly. "Never mind. It was me." The sound echoes like a whale call, through the cosmic water, bouncing off glowing clouds of plankton dust. The entire galaxy seems to giggle in response, bubbles shimmering brighter for a moment. Patrick squints upward. Stars, friends, dreams, where's the snacks? As if the dream heard him, a golden light appears in the distance, faint at first, like a single glowing crumb floating in darkness. Patrick's eyes widen. Is that food light? He kicks his legs eagerly, wobbling through the soft current, each motion sending small spirals of bubbles behind him. The golden glow grows brighter, warmer, pulsing gently like a heartbeat. Soon Patrick finds himself floating in front of something enormous, a glowing circular shape, spinning slowly in space. It's a Krabby Patty, but not an ordinary one. This one is the size of a planet. Its bun glows with golden light, sesame seeds twinkling like stars. The patty itself shimmers with nebula colors, violet, pink, blue, and the lettuce, moves like aurora waves, rippling gently. Patrick's jaw drops. His reflection shines on the glossy ketchup surface. Whoa, he whispers in awe. The Cosmic Krabby Patty. The melody around him shifts, twinkling synths rise and fall like a lullaby made of hunger. He drifts closer, extending a finger. The patty hums faintly and like it's alive. The voice of his own imagination echoes through the dream. Only the hungriest of starfish may taste the Cosmic Krabby Patty. Patrick gasps dramatically. That's me. I'm the hungriest. The Krabby Patty pulses once, releasing a soft wave of light that ripples across the water. Stars rearrange themselves into floating symbols, pickles, onions, and patties, orbiting like mini-planets. Patrick giggles and swims through them, munching imaginary bites as he goes. Yum, yum, yum! Ah, extra pickle galaxy! As he spins, the background fades into slow, dreamlike motion, time stretching as light moves in smooth, flowing waves. Patrick's movements are exaggerated, almost balletic in slow motion, as glowing crumbs drift upward like sparks. Then suddenly, boom! A loud sizzling sound fills the dream, echoing like thunder underwater. The Cosmic Patty opens slightly, light bursting from its center. Patrick gasps. It's cooking itself! Inside the glowing burger, swirls of heat light form galaxies, whirlpools of sauce, and starlight spinning together. Each bubble that pops releases a tiny sound. Pop, sizzle, pop! The ocean's color changes soft gold, blending with electric blue. The ground beneath Patrick becomes invisible, only the glow of the giant burger keeping the world illuminated. Patrick floats in front of it, arms stretched wide. I've never seen anything so deliciously beautiful. A soft breeze passes through their deep underwater, carrying the scent of toasted bun and sea salt. Patrick inhales dramatically. His eyes glaze over in bliss. Smells like heaven with mustard. He spins in slow circles, his body glowing faintly now, the reflected light of the burger wrapping around him like a halo. The stars above swirl into orbit, rearranging themselves into smaller Krabby Patties that orbit the main one like moons. Patrick laughs and reaches out, trying to grab one. But as soon as he touches it, the tiny patty dissolves into bubbles that spiral around him and vanish. He pouts. Oh, come back, Snack Moon. From the distance, faint, echoing voices sound familiar tones, as if SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs are calling. But they don't sound real. They sound dreamlike, mixed with the ocean's hum. Cook it right, lad. Don't forget the secret formula. Make it sparkle. Patrick blinks and looks around. SpongeBob? Mr. Krabs? Is that you? Their voices fade into laughter, echoing in harmony with the sizzling sound of the patty. Patrick grins. Okay, okay. I'll make the best Cosmic Patty ever. The enormous Krabby Patty glows brighter. The top bun slowly lifts, floating upward like a golden planet ring. Patrick floats toward it, spinning like a slow comet. He places his hands gently on the edge of the glowing bun, looking down into its center. Inside is a swirling ocean of sauce, glowing rivers of ketchup and mustard moving like galaxies. Whoa, he murmurs. This is delicious space. He dips one finger in, tasting the light itself. For a moment, his entire body glows with flavor. His cheeks shimmer pink. His eyes turn star-shaped, and his body emits little sparkles. Patrick sighs happily. Yep, best dream ever. He starts to build his own version, gathering glowing bubbles and shaping them like ingredients. One becomes a glowing pickle, another a luminous slice of cheese. As he places each ingredient into the floating air, it starts orbiting the Cosmic Patty, forming miniature burgers that twirl around like satellites. The whole scene feels like a dance, Patrick floating in zero gravity, flipping, spinning, assembling cosmic food. Soft, glowing sauce trails follow his movements, creating spiral shapes across the water. A slow camera pan reveals the entire view, Patrick surrounded by galaxies of food, all glowing and rotating in rhythm with his laughter. He hums a silly tune. Krabby Patty, shining bright, floating through the starry night. Pickles high and ketchup low. I'm the cosmic cook. Let's go. His laughter echoes, mixing with the soft sound of sizzling nebulae and dream wind. The lighting shifts into radiant violet and pink tones, dream colors thick with comfort and delight. Patrick, glowing like a small sun, continues to float between the orbits of patties and pickles, his movements slow as he grows full, eyes half closing. He rubs his tummy. I think I ate the Milky Way. The Cosmic Krabby Patty hums softly, lowering its glow. The once bright light turns warm and golden, like a dimmed lantern. Patrick drifts lazily nearby, smiling. You're the best big burger, buddy. The patty's light pulses once, as if smiling back. Patrick yawns. His eyelids flutter. Maybe. One more bite? Patrick floats peacefully beside the glowing Cosmic Krabby Patty. His eyes flutter open halfway, heavy with sleep but sparkling with wonder. The stars pulse in rhythm with his heartbeat, and the bubbles surrounding him drift like lazy thoughts. The burger hums again, a deep, gentle vibration that travels through the water. It feels like it's calling him closer. Patrick blinks. Huh? You want to talk? The Krabby Patty doesn't answer, of course, but another pulse of light glows through its layers, a slow shimmer that moves from the bun down to the bottom, then up again, like a heartbeat. Patrick tilts his head. Are you alive? He leans closer. The warm, golden light flickers over his face, soft shadows dancing across his cheeks. For a moment, his reflection bends and stretches on the shiny ketchup surface, like two Patricks staring at each other through glass. Then the entire burger shifts, slowly rotating in space, turning its glowing face toward him. The swirl of sauce inside begins to spiral faster, like a galaxy waking up. Patrick gasps, his voice echoing dreamily. Oh. The Krabby Patty speaks the language of the universe? A soft hum answers him, almost musical. The sesame seeds on the bun rise, glowing brighter, rearranging into strange constellations, forming shapes of jellyfish, coral, and even SpongeBob's face. They spin and scatter like tiny meteors. Patrick's eyes widen. Wow, you made SpongeBob out of seeds. You're so talented. He drifts a little closer, unable to resist. The closer he gets, the more beautiful it becomes, the golden glow turning white-hot in the center. He feels its warmth against his face, a comforting energy that makes him giggle and sigh at the same time. And then, with a sudden pop, a small glowing bubble detaches from the top of the bun. It floats upward, slowly rotating, like a drop of honey escaping gravity. Inside it, Patrick sees something tiny lights flickering, forming pictures. He squints. Is that me eating a smaller Krabby Patty? He laughs so hard the water ripples. Even my dreams have snacks inside snacks. He gently catches the bubble. It trembles in his hand, glowing brighter. When he looks closer, he realizes it's showing moments from his past, him and SpongeBob cooking together, laughing, chasing jellyfish, and sharing a midnight snack under the stars. Patrick's smile softens. Ah, this burger's got memories. He looks up at the giant patty again. You remember too, huh? The golden light brightens as if answering. The waves of sauce inside the burger ripple outward, forming rings of starlight that stretch into the darkness. The scene around Patrick begins to transform again, the empty cosmic ocean filling with smaller, glowing patties orbiting in harmony. He floats in the center, surrounded by this galaxy of food stars, completely in awe. Slowly, the biggest Krabby Patty begins to open. The top bun lifts higher, revealing the space inside, glowing brighter, swirling faster. The air hums softly, like 1,000 tiny voices whispering secrets at once. Patrick tilts his head, awestruck. Ooh, the cosmic core. The light from within pulses, bathing him in color reds, purples, and silver hues blending in waves. The surface of the patty becomes transparent for a moment, showing mysterious shapes within swirling lights that look like tiny constellations, but made of ingredients: cheese nebulae, pickle planets, onion rings orbiting each other like twin suns. Patrick's voice comes out in a reverent whisper. This is the tastiest thing I've ever seen. He slowly drifts toward the open space, drawn in like a comet being pulled by a star. The closer he gets, the more he feels that hum, a sound that's not quite heard, but felt through his whole body. Soft, glowing crumbs swirl around him like dust clouds. The scene moves in slow motion as Patrick floats through the threshold, crossing into the heart of the Cosmic Krabby Patty. Inside, everything changes. It's not a burger anymore, it's a universe. Bubbles expand infinitely around him, filled with streaks of light. Each layer of the patty becomes a new world, a ring of glowing lettuce wrapping around like a green aurora, a horizon of sauce flowing like molten rivers, a floating cheese layer that looks like the sun's surface. Patrick spins slowly, his reflection shining on every glowing layer. His eyes sparkle like stars as he breathes out a soft, amazed whisper. I'm inside, the biggest snack ever made. He giggles, floating through ribbons of ketchup light that wave like silk. Each touch leaves glowing trails that shimmer behind him. The dream is silent, except for the deep hum, steady, soothing, like the heartbeat of the cosmos. Patrick drifts through the sauce galaxy, kicking softly. Oh, tiny bubbles rise around him, each one containing a small, flickering image memories of him and SpongeBob again, sitting at the Krusty Krab, laughing and eating. Some bubbles show him working the grill with way too much enthusiasm. Others show him sleeping at the table, burger crumbs on his chest. He laughs again, reaching out to poke a bubble. That one's true. It pops, releasing a faint echo of SpongeBob's laughter, gentle and distant, as if carried on the ocean current. Patrick smiles warmly. Miss you, buddy. Then the entire space around him begins to brighten. The floating sauce galaxies swirl faster, and the patty's glow intensifies. Patrick looks around, confused but fascinated. What's happening now? Is the burger evolving? The hum deepens, vibrating through the water. The layers begin to spin together, creating a spiral of golden light. The whole world starts to move, lettuce and cheese layers spinning like rings of Saturn, sauce nebulae merging into one giant whirlpool. Patrick is caught in the middle of it, twirling gently but unharmed. He holds his arms out and laughs, spinning with the flow. Woohoo! It's a burger tornado. The swirling light reflects in his eyes, and the camera pans out to show the immense scale Patrick. A tiny, glowing speck, surrounded by rotating layers of cosmic food, forming a glowing vortex that stretches into the infinite. As the vortex slows, Patrick floats upward, following the brightest beam of light at its center. He blinks through the brightness, squinting, his tone suddenly softer and curious. What's that up there? Dessert? He giggles, still dreaming in half-thoughts, half-snores. The golden light above grows stronger, becoming a doorway of shimmering sauce and starlight. It pulses gently, like an invitation. Patrick tilts his head, floating closer. Maybe there's fries in there. A soft laugh echoes. It's SpongeBob's voice again, faint but cheerful. Come on, Patrick. The best part's yet to come. Patrick smiles sleepily. Okay, SpongeBob. Save me a bite. Patrick drifts through the glowing golden light like a leaf in a gentle tide. The brightness slowly softens, turning into shimmering pastel waves, pink, blue, and orange, swirling like melted ice cream. His body feels lighter than a bubble. Every motion sends a trail of tiny stars spiraling behind him. Whoa, Patrick murmurs, his voice echoing faintly. It's like swimming through soda pop. The golden light parts ahead, revealing a breathtaking sight, a massive, glowing chamber made entirely of starlight and sauce. Ribbons of ketchup spiral around him like red comets. Mustard flares burst like miniature suns, and rivers of melted cheese flow lazily, creating glowing paths across the void. In the center of it all hovers a sphere radiant, perfect, pulsing like a heart. It glows in warm tones, amber, gold, soft pink. This, Patrick realizes, must be the star sauce, the heart of the Cosmic Krabby Patty. He gasps. The secret ingredient. The sphere pulses once, sending ripples through the space. The sound isn't quite a sound, more like the echo of laughter underwater. It feels familiar somehow, comforting. Patrick tilts his head, puzzled. Wait a sec. That laugh. I know that laugh. The ripples grow stronger, and for a moment, the sauce sphere turns translucent, revealing faint images inside. He sees himself and SpongeBob working at the Krusty Krab, flipping patties together, their laughter echoing. Then the image shifts, SpongeBob proudly handing him a Krabby Patty, both of them giggling as it accidentally squirts sauce all over them. Patrick chuckles. Ha! I remember that day. SpongeBob called it a splash of flavor. The scene fades, replaced by more memories, jellyfishing in jellyfish fields, dancing under the moon, building sandcastles that collapse instantly. Each image glows and melts into the sauce, becoming light again. Patrick's eyes shimmer. You remember everything too, huh? The sauce pulses warmly again, almost like it's nodding. The rhythm feels like a heartbeat, slow, steady, gentle. Patrick drifts closer, his big hands reaching out, but stopping just before he touches it. He whispers, You're, alive. The sauce hums softly. The warmth spreads through the water, brushing against him like a hug. And suddenly, Patrick understands this isn't just sauce. It's made of everything they've shared, their laughter, their memories, their friendship, all blended together into this golden cosmic energy. A few bubbles rise around him, glowing with faint whispers. Best friends forever. Order up. Patrick, you're my favorite customer. Patrick's eyes well up. He covers his mouth, his voice breaking slightly. Ah, SpongeBob. The sauce glows brighter, almost reacting to his emotion. Then slowly it starts to spin the light, folding in on itself, transforming into something new. The sauce stretches upward, taking form, and suddenly Patrick sees a familiar shape emerging from the glow. A tiny, glowing SpongeBob made entirely of light, and bubbles floats before him. Patrick gasps, his smile trembling. SpongeBob, is that really you? The glowing figure tilts its head, smiling with the same bright innocence. His voice echoes like a song underwater, gentle and musical. Hey, Patrick? Patrick's lower lip wobbles. I thought I was dreaming. The light SpongeBob chuckles. You are? But dreams are still real if they make you smile. Patrick laughs through his tears. Yeah, that's so SpongeBob to say. The two float there, facing each other in the glowing heart of the Cosmic Krabby Patty. The sauce waves gently around them, casting golden ripples across their faces. SpongeBob glows brighter. Patrick, do you know why the Krabby Patty shines like this? Patrick scratches his head. Extra cheese? SpongeBob giggles. Close. It's love, Patrick. The secret ingredient has always been love. Patrick blinks. Love? Like how I love snacks. SpongeBob laughs softly, shaking his head. Not just that. The love we put into everything we do, cooking, laughing, helping each other, just being friends. The words drift around them like golden bubbles, each one popping with a faint musical note. Patrick's expression softens. Oh, so every time I eat a Krabby Patty, SpongeBob finishes gently, you're tasting all our good memories. Patrick's eyes widen as he looks around at the glowing chamber again, at the sauce rivers, cheese nebulae, lettuce auroras. Every swirl seems alive with color and laughter. He realizes that the entire Cosmic Krabby Patty isn't just food. It's a reflection of everything they've shared. He whispers, that means we're part of the recipe. SpongeBob's glow pulses happily. Exactly. The two of them float closer until their light overlaps a gentle, glowing fusion of pink and gold. Then SpongeBob's voice softens, becoming distant but kind. Patrick, you don't have to be afraid when you wake up. I'll always be here. In every jellyfish sting, every bubble pop, and every Krabby Patty smile. Patrick's eyes glisten, his voice quiet. Even when I eat too slow? SpongeBob giggles. Especially then. They both laugh, a sound that fills the cosmic chamber with warmth. The sauce waves shimmer brighter, the whole place lighting up as if the stars themselves are laughing along. Then SpongeBob's glow begins to fade slightly, like morning light thinning through curtains. Patrick notices and panics. Wait. Don't go yet. SpongeBob smiles gently. I'm not going anywhere. You'll see me again, maybe in a dream, maybe in the bubbles. Patrick's voice shakes. Promise? SpongeBob nods. Promise? For a moment, everything pauses, time suspended in syrupy light. Then SpongeBob slowly fades into the sauce, his form melting into the golden glow. The last thing Patrick sees is SpongeBob's smiling face dissolving into soft sparkles that swirl around him like starlight. Patrick reaches out, trying to catch the light, but it slips through his fingers, wrapping around his arm like a ribbon before disappearing into the vast glow. Silence falls. Only the hum of the Cosmic Patty remains a slow, steady heartbeat. Patrick floats quietly, eyes closed, breathing deeply. The emotion in his face softens into peace. After a long moment, he opens his eyes again. The star sauce still pulses gently in front of him, but now it feels calm, no longer wild and glowing, but steady, alive, warm. Patrick whispers, smiling softly, "Thank you, SpongeBob." He drifts upward, following the golden currents as they guide him away from the heart. The glowing rivers carry him like gentle tides, moving him through the layers of light. The scenery begins to dissolve, sauce galaxies dimming, cheese suns cooling, lettuce clouds fading into mist. As he rises higher, Patrick sees below him the full Cosmic Krabby Patty now pulsing like a giant star, surrounded by swirling crumbs that shine like moons. It's beautiful beyond words, like a living memory suspended in the sea of space. Patrick drifts upward through the soft golden haze, the echoes of SpongeBob's laughter still floating in his mind. The light around him begins to dim, not fading, but transforming, changing from radiant gold to deep ocean blue. It's the color of calm, of home. The glowing rivers of sauce below him spiral slowly, becoming smaller, thinner, until they look like threads of starlight weaving into the darkness. He watches them fade with a sleepy smile. Bye-bye, sauce stars. Tiny glowing crumbs, fragments of the Cosmic Krabby Patty, swirl upward with him, like fireflies following a current. Each one glows softly, humming a faint melody that feels like a lullaby. Patrick listens, eyes half closed, letting the rhythm carry him higher. He whispers drowsily, "That's my favorite song. Sounds like the Krusty Krab grill." A faint sizzling sound fills the water, distant yet familiar, the soft crackle of a patty being flipped, the hiss of oil, the gentle ding of an order ready. But there's no kitchen here, no restaurant, just a dream remembering itself. As Patrick floats, the scene around him starts to blur, bending like liquid glass. The galaxies of food and stars dissolve into transparent layers of light. The last jellyfish constellation waves its glowing tentacles goodbye before flickering out. A faint breeze, or what feels like one underwater, brushes against Patrick's face. It smells faintly of sea salt and Krabby Patties. Patrick mumbles sleepily, breakfast." The current grows stronger now, pulling him gently upward. The water becomes brighter, lighter, until it looks like morning sunlight filtered through waves. He can sense the surface calling him, a soft tug, steady and warm. But before he rises completely, he turns one last time. Below him, far in the distance, the Cosmic Krabby Patty still glows, faintly smaller now, but still beautiful, like a distant star. For a brief moment, he feels a pang of sadness. The dream is ending. The stars are fading. He whispers softly, "I'll miss you, SpongeBob." Then, as if in answer, one golden bubble drifts up from the patty below. It rises through the dark, glowing brighter as it comes closer. Patrick watches, his eyes wide with wonder, as the bubble stops in front of him, perfectly still. Inside the bubble, he sees a reflection not of himself, but of SpongeBob, smiling, waving. The sound of his voice is faint, carried on the bubble's shimmer. "Sweet dreams, Patrick." Patrick reaches out with both hands and gently touches the bubble. It bursts silently, releasing a single sparkle that drifts onto his chest and fades into light. He whispers, smiling softly, "Good night, buddy." The Krusty Krab hums softly in the distance, a golden glow flickering through the blue morning waves. Patrick has already eaten 3 Krabby Patties, maybe 4, but he can't remember. He just knows he's full, happy, and slightly sleepy again. He wipes his mouth with a coral napkin and lets out a long sigh of satisfaction. "Best breakfast ever," he mumbles, his voice thick with drowsy joy. SpongeBob laughs, standing behind the grill. "You say that every morning, Patrick." Patrick chuckles lazily. "That's because it's true every morning." The two friends laugh together, their voices echoing softly through the quiet restaurant. The ocean outside seems unusually calm today, its surface glimmering like glass. Every sound feels distant, muffled, gentle, as if the whole world is still half asleep. SpongeBob flips another patty, his movements light and rhythmic like a song. "You okay, buddy? You look extra relaxed today." Patrick blinks slowly, smiling. "Yeah, just a little tired. I think I had the best dream ever last night." "Oh?" SpongeBob leans forward, curious. "Was I in it?" Patrick grins wide, eyes half closed. "Of course. You were the biggest, cheesiest star in the sky." SpongeBob blushes, giggling. "Aw, shucks. I've always wanted to be a starfish." Patrick snickers. "Too late. I already took that job." They both burst out laughing again, their voices overlapping, blending perfectly with the sizzling sound of the grill. Then after a while, SpongeBob notices Patrick's eyelids drooping again. The soft bubbles rising from the fryer reflect in his friend's eyes, flickering like tiny stars. "Patrick," SpongeBob says softly, "why don't you go take a nap? You look like you're about to melt." Patrick yawns so big that a few bubbles escape from his mouth. "Good idea. Maybe I'll nap right here." Before SpongeBob can respond, Patrick lays his head gently on the Krusty Krab table, arms folded like a pillow. Within seconds, his breathing slows, his chest rises and falls in rhythm with the soft current drifting through the open door. SpongeBob smiles quietly, shaking his head. "Sweet dreams, Patrick." He turns back to the grill, humming a lullaby version of the Krusty Krab theme, and the sound fades softly as the camera drifts closer to Patrick. The light around Patrick begins to change. The golden glow of morning melts into shimmering blue. The sound of the grill fades into the hum of deep water. His body becomes lighter, as if the current itself is lifting him. Tiny bubbles rise from the floor and swirl around his head, forming a soft halo of light. The table beneath him dissolves, replaced by sand that glows faintly from below. Patrick stirs in his sleep, smiling. His eyelids flutter. Then, with one last sigh, he sinks back into the dream. Patrick opens his eyes, but not to his rock home, nor to the Krusty Krab. He's floating in a vast, quiet sea, much darker than before. The colors are deep indigo, navy, violet. Yet the darkness isn't scary, it's warm, like a blanket wrapped around the ocean. Above him, thousands of glowing dots sparkle faintly, twinkling in the currents. They're not stars this time, they're memories, drifting slowly like jellyfish lights. Patrick blinks, watching them with awe. Whoa! Did I fall asleep inside my dream? A glowing bubble drifts past, reflecting SpongeBob's face for just a moment, before turning into a swirl of light. Patrick smiles gently. Guess I did. He floats upward, letting the slow current carry him. Each glowing bubble that passes by whispers faint sounds, laughter, sizzling, footsteps, echoes of moments from earlier in his dream. It's as if the ocean is replaying his story piece by piece. One bubble floats close to his ear and whispers, "Best breakfast ever." Patrick laughs softly. Huh, I remember that one. Another bubble drifts by, showing the Krusty Krab in miniature, SpongeBob waving happily from the window. He reaches out, trying to touch it, but his hand passes right through, leaving ripples of light behind. The bubbles start to rise faster now, forming slow spiral patterns around him. Their glow brightens, filling the water with pale golden light, the same color as the sparkle he kept in his jar. Patrick watches as all the bubbles drift upward into the darkness, merging into a giant, luminous swirl high above him, a new constellation forming before his eyes. The constellation of dreams. Each glowing orb becomes a piece of the shape: Krabby Patties, jellyfish, SpongeBob's smiling face, even a tiny version of Patrick himself. Together they form a circle that glows with a heartbeat pulse, soft, steady, alive. Patrick whispers, eyes wide. It's like a bedtime story, but the stars are telling me. The water around him shimmers as the constellation pulses again, releasing a wave of light that flows through the ocean. The glow touches coral reefs, shells, even tiny sleeping fish. Everything it touches begins to sparkle gently, as if wrapped in the starlight. Patrick drifts closer, entranced. His reflection appears on the glowing surface, calm, smiling, peaceful. He tilts his head. You look sleepy, too. The reflection nods. Patrick laughs softly. Okay, let's nap together. He curls up mid-water, floating in a lazy spiral, eyes half closed, hands resting under his chin. The glowing water hums around him, rocking him gently back and forth like a cradle. The sound of waves blends into a distant melody, faint chimes and slow harps echoing through the dark. Each note feels like it's pulling him deeper into peace, deeper into comfort, deeper into the soft rhythm of sleep. Patrick sighs, smiling as his body drifts. Maybe dreams never really end. Maybe they just nap too. The last of the light begins to dim, replaced by a soft lavender glow. The stars shimmer quietly above him. The ocean floor glows like the surface of the moon. He murmurs one last line before drifting off completely. Good night, sky. Good night, Krabby Patty stars. Patrick floats deeper into the quiet blue. The world around him hums softly, the sound of 1,000 bubbles whispering in rhythm. Each breath he takes releases a faint shimmer of light, glowing like dust in moonbeams. The sea feels endless, not empty, but full of something gentle and alive. The glow above that circle of dream constellations slowly fades, replaced by drifting clouds of light. They move like soft curtains, rolling across the ocean sky. The truck blinks up at them, half asleep, half smiling. His thoughts float lazily, melting one into another like jellyfish drifting through the warm water. He thinks about SpongeBob still cooking Krabby Patties somewhere above the waves. He imagines the sizzle of the grill becoming a lullaby, each sound wrapping him in calm. The bubbles around him pulse faintly in rhythm with that thought hiss. Pop, hum. And suddenly, the light shifts again. Now Patrick is lying on something. He looks down and realizes that the water beneath him has become soft, like a giant glowing blanket made of bubbles. It gently cradles his body, rocking him back and forth, as if the entire sea were tucking him in. Wow, he mumbled drowsily. This bed's way comfier than my rock. He rolls onto his side, curling up slightly, and rests his cheek on the glowing surface. The warmth of it surprises him, not hot, but soothing, like sunlight filtered through waves. Tiny specks of light drift up from beneath him, floating toward the surface like stardust. They pass his face, and each one reflects a faint memory. SpongeBob waving, Squidward snoring, Sandy polishing a gadget, Mr. Krabs counting coins. Patrick watches them, his eyes heavy. I dream about them a lot, he whispers to no one in particular. A soft bubble rises beside him, as if answering. Inside it, he sees SpongeBob's smiling face again. "Good night, Patrick," the image says gently, its voice echoing like a memory. Patrick chuckles, his laughter lazy and warm. "Good night, SpongeBob." Again. The bubble pops quietly, releasing a faint shimmer that fades into the sea. Patrick closes his eyes for a moment, and when he opens them again, the world has changed once more. Now he's no longer floating, he's gliding. The ocean carries him forward without effort through waves of translucent colors. Each wave seems to pulse with life like the slow rhythm of breathing. Blue melts into turquoise, turquoise into lavender, lavender into pale silver. He stretches his arms out, feeling the current push softly against his palms. Tiny star-shaped fish swim past him, glowing like little lanterns. One of them stops in front of his face, blinking slowly. Patrick giggles. "You guys look like bedtime snacks." The fish blinks again, then twirls in a slow circle before darting upward, leaving behind a trail of sparkles. Patrick follows it with his eyes, watching as it joins a cluster of similar lights, forming yet another constellation, this one shaped like a big heart. "Ah," Patrick says softly. "That one's nice." The light of the heart constellation expands outward, illuminating the water. Far away, faint outlines appear, floating reefs shaped like pillows, shells like glowing moons, and coral trees that sway gently in the current. Everything feels alive but quiet. It's not bustling, not noisy. It's peaceful, like the ocean itself is trying to fall asleep. Patrick drifts closer to the glowing coral. Each branch hums faintly when he passes like wind chimes underwater. He reaches out and brushes one gently with his hand, and the coral responds by releasing a stream of bubbles that float upward like glowing balloons. Patrick laughs again, the sound soft and sincere. "You guys are funny. I like you." The coral glows brighter as if responding to his kindness. He continues floating slowly through the scene, surrounded by tiny lights that pulse in time with his heartbeat. Every few moments he yawns, not because he's bored, but because the dream feels so warm, so endlessly calm, it invites him to rest deeper. The light begins to dim slightly. The bubbles become fewer, their glow softer, slower. Patrick's movements slow, too. His arms drift gently by his sides, his eyes half closed. The music of the dream lowers in tone. The chimes fade, replaced by a deep ocean hum. He feels weightless again. Not like floating, more like being part of the sea itself. He can't tell where the water ends and where he begins. It's all one soft, glowing space warmth, comfort, stillness. The camera pulls back, showing him as a small shape surrounded by layers of translucent color. The ocean folds around him like sheets of light. He drifts downward again, as if sinking into a second sleep within his dream. And in that descent, everything feels slower than thought, slower than time. It's not falling, it's resting. As Patrick sinks, faint shapes form around him, memories merging with light. The Cosmic Krabby Patty floats in the distance, glowing faintly. The jellyfish constellations ripple softly above, and among them all, Patrick's laughter faint, echoing weaves through the silence, fading slowly until it becomes part of the hum of the sea. Tiny sparkles rise from his hands as he drifts, dissolving into bubbles that spiral upwards. Each bubble pops silently, releasing a faint shimmer that fades into the surrounding light. One bubble floats closer to the camera inside it. Patrick's dream self smiles faintly, sleeping. Then it pops that the deeper Patrick drifts, the quieter everything becomes. Even the sound of the bubbles fades, replaced by a soft hum, like the ocean itself is whispering a lullaby only he can hear. It's not made of words, it's just comfort. A vibration that wraps around him, the way a blanket wraps around someone who's almost dreaming again. He exhales, and little rings of light float from his mouth, spiraling lazily upward. Each one shimmers for a second before dissolving, like small memories rising to the surface. He doesn't even notice them anymore. He's too relaxed, too still, his body drifting like seaweed in a gentle current. For a moment, he dreams that he's not underwater at all. He's lying on his rock again, the surface glowing faintly. The ceiling above him, his old familiar home, has turned into a sky full of soft golden stars. They twinkle gently, slow and patient. Patrick blinks once, then twice. His eyes flutter open, and the dream and the real world blend into one. The stars above shift slightly, and in their light, he sees faces forming again. SpongeBob's cheerful smile, Squidward's sleepy frown, Sandy's focused eyes. Even Mr. Krabs, clutching a glowing coin that floats like a tiny planet. They're all there, constellations made of friendship, memories drawn in light. Patrick gazes up at them, smiling sleepily. "Hey guys," he murmurs, his voice slow, like it's underwater. "You're all glowing tonight." The figures move gently, their outlines rippling as if made of currents. SpongeBob waves. Sandy tips her helmet slightly. Squidward rolls his eyes. Patrick chuckles softly, a sound that vibrates through the dream like a warm ripple. He tries to reach toward them, but his hand passes through the starlight. Instead, the lights curl around his fingers, wrapping him in a faint glow. It's as if they're hugging him back silently, reminding him that he's never really alone. The star tides. The world begins to move again. The sea sky ripples above him, and the constellations start to drift, carried by unseen tides. Patrick follows them lazily, floating on his back as the stars drift past. Somewhere in the distance, soft music begins a harp, blending with whale-like tones, fading in and out with the waves. The constellations twist and fold into new shapes. A jellyfish turns into a heart. The heart stretches into a Krabby Patty. Then the patty melts into a glowing spiral that looks like the Milky Way if the Milky Way were made of bubbles and sea light. And Patrick watches all this, eyes wide but sleepy, like a kid watching fireworks at midnight. "Wow," he says softly. "Space is hungry." The spiral expands until it fills the whole scene, a great glowing swirl of colors moving slowly. Blues, pinks, purples, and golds blend together, the light pulsing in time with Patrick's slow breathing. And then the spiral begins to lower. It turns slowly, folding in on itself until it becomes a gentle current once again, and Patrick is carried along its center, as though being pulled toward something familiar. He doesn't resist. He just lets it happen. The motion is soft, soothing. The current carries him through more fields of glowing coral, over reefs that hum faintly, past luminous shells resting like moons on the ocean floor. Everywhere he looks, there's something familiar, yet transformed by dreamlight. He sees SpongeBob's pineapple, but it's not a house now. It's a glowing planet, spinning slowly, with rings made of bubbles. He sees Squidward's Easter Island head turned into a quiet asteroid, softly glowing with turquoise light. And beside it, a little spacesuit Sandy is floating, fixing stars like they're inventions. Patrick laughs, the sound quiet but full of wonder. This dream's got good snacks and friends, he mumbles. Then he yawns again, his voice fading with the current. As Patrick drifts onward, the scenery slowly loops. The glowing coral he passed before returns, but dimmer now, softer. The constellations above fade in and out, as if time itself is yawning along with him. He's been here before. He realizes the same sea, the same stars, just quieter this time. It feels like the dream is tucking itself back in, folding layers of light over itself. And Patrick is at the center of it, the calmest part of all. A soft echo floats through the water, his own voice, distant, half asleep. Good night, Patrick. He opens his eyes briefly, blinking through the haze. There's no one around. The voice came from him, maybe from an earlier part of the dream, still echoing. He smiles faintly. Night, me. The water ripples, responding to his whisper. Tiny lights drift toward him, circling his body in gentle spirals. They look like fireflies, but softer, more like thoughts, glowing for a moment before fading. Now the color of the dream begins to change again. The blue deepens into indigo. The lavender fades into pale silver. Everything's slow sound, light, even the flow of water. Patrick blinks slower. His breaths are long and even. He feels the same comfort he did at the start, the peaceful, wordless quiet that comes right before true sleep. It's not the beginning of a dream now, it's the end of one, folding perfectly into rest. The stars above him flicker faintly, each one glowing for a moment longer before dimming. The heart-shaped constellation lingers the longest. Patrick stares at it with a small, sleepy smile. That one's my favorite, he murmurs. And then softly, don't go yet. But the dream doesn't answer. The lights continue to fade, one by one. The ocean around him turns into mist, not cold, not dark, just pale and endless. The current carries him downward, slowly, gently, as if lowering him back into his real bed under his rock. The dream sea drifts toward silence. The glowing spiral that carried Patrick begins to dissolve, its light breaking into thousands of tiny dots that scatter into the distance. He's floating at the center of it all, weightless, calm, smiling faintly even as his eyes grow heavier. Above him, the last constellations shimmer faintly. Their shapes no longer stay fixed. The Krabby Patty melts into a swirl of bubbles. The jellyfish stars blink out one by one, and the coral-like galaxies fade into glowing outlines. The colors soften pinks, and golds melt into a soft silver hue, like morning mist over the ocean. Patrick exhales deeply, his arms resting at his sides. He looks peaceful, like a cloud suspended in the sea. The water hums gently around him, not a sound he hears, but one he feels, low and steady, like the heartbeat of the world. The camera slowly tilts upward. The sky of his dream stretches infinitely, a dome of silver, dotted with faint points of fading light. At the very top, the largest of those lights flickers, almost like it's breathing. And then it shifts. The glow expands, forming a round shape, translucent and perfect. A bubble. Patrick blinks. His half-asleep mind recognizes it, the same bubble that started his adventure. Only this time, it's upside down, hanging above him, like a moon reflected in the water. The current moves again, slow but deliberate. Patrick's body begins to rise toward the bubble, his pink outline shimmering faintly as he drifts closer. He doesn't fight it. He doesn't even think. He just floats upward, a quiet smile on his face. Guess it's time to go home, he murmurs softly, the words half swallowed by the dream. The closer he gets to the bubble, the warmer the light becomes. It's no longer silver, now it's gold, glowing like sunrise through water. Tiny sparkles drift from it, circling Patrick like small lanterns guiding him upward. As he ascends, the dream world beneath him continues to fade. The reefs dissolve into glowing outlines. The galaxies of jellyfish turn to mist. Even the trails of his laughter, those faint echoes, scatter and vanish like stardust in a current. The camera pans down for one last look at the dream world. It's vast and quiet now, shimmering like glass. At its center, the island of crystal bubbles still floats dim, peaceful, like a candle in fog. Then even that fades, replaced by soft blue. Patrick's silhouette glides upward through the glow. His reflection appears on the bubble's surface, smiling sleepily back at him. For a heartbeat, both versions of him, dream and real, overlap perfectly. The bubble ripples once, then opens. Light bursts outward, not bright or blinding, but gentle and warm, filling the frame like the last sigh of a lullaby. Cut to a soft, golden scene. Patrick lies under his rock, wrapped in a blanket patterned with tiny stars. His mouth hangs open slightly, a quiet snore rumbling through the calm water. A faint shimmer of light moves across the room, the residue of the dream, now turned into soft moonlight from above. The sand around him glows faintly, as if touched by the starlight of his dream. On the small table beside his bed, a jar of sea cookies sits half open, one of them floating lazily in the water, shaped like a tiny star. Patrick stirs, mumbling sleepily. Starlight snacks. He chuckles softly, still dreaming, then rolls over, the blanket twisting around him. For a moment, his body glows faintly pink, then fades back to normal. Above his rock, a single bubble floats out small, clear, glowing with pale gold. It drifts upward, spinning slowly, rising higher through the dark water. The camera follows it, gently panning upward through the ocean layers. As the bubble rises, it passes through scenes of stillness. The quiet reef, a sleeping jellyfish colony glowing faintly. The distant silhouette of SpongeBob's pineapple house, its windows softly lit. Everything is peaceful, like the entire ocean is asleep. The bubble keeps rising until it reaches the ocean's surface, where light filters through like liquid dawn.